Good morning. It's now time for the AM News here on the AM Show. It's a Wednesday morning. My name is Pakwesi Shandov. So a very first story. The Ghana Police Service says it has deployed more men to monitor areas that could be targeted by terrorists. Religious organizations have also been sensitized to train security wardens and track members. These measures come in the wake of terrorist attacks in West Africa, the most recent being an attack in Nigeria that left at least 50 Christians dead. Director General of Public Affairs, DCOP Kwesi Fori, has been speaking on the matter.
Yes, we can advise the churches to know their flock, know their members very well, and should put in better sitting arrangement where it will be very difficult for an infiltrator, to come in and pretend as a worshipper. And all new worshippers perhaps should be known, talked to, and they should go through the normal security check that the churches have put in place. And we believe that the churches should encourage the training of security wardens. In the last 2 years, Accra region, we train almost over 7,000 security wardens from the various churches, including ICGC, several churches in Adenta, Municipality Ebenezer Church, the Catholic, and a whole lot of other church institutions in that area. So all that we are calling for, let me put it clear, that the churches should encourage the training of security wardens to widen their eye stretch in trying to know who is a bad guy and not, and who is coming in, to cause damage and mayhem. And sitting arrangements in the church should be done in a way that church members can know each other, and should there be an infiltrator that could quickly be detected, that is the way to go. And we've seen the national security, the police, and all relevant institutions are doing a lot of education around border areas, within institutions, churches, and places where we have mass of people. So I believe that is the way to go. Education is not a bad idea, especially in a sub-region where we live.
What's the approach from the end of the police on your own?
You've seen that a lot of commanders are out there educating church members, going out to institutions and so forth, and that is the way to go. And not too distant a future, we will be guided by literature, to make sure that we share a common position and view.
Now, governance expert Dr. Bafwa Jumandria is calling for an overhaul of salary and end-of-year service benefits for Article 71 of his orders, describing the continuous payment of Ex-gratia as insensitive, irrelevant, and a drain on the struggling Ghanaian economy. The thorny issue of Ex-gratia is back on the front burner following the decision by the Agbogbo Mafia of Asogli, Togbe Afede the 14th, to reject what was paid to him as Ex-gratia for serving on the Council of State between 2017 and 2020. Dr. Bafwa Jumandria notes the payment of money to members of the Council of States cannot be justified.
What Togbe has done is to dramatize one of the ways, of many, many ways, as we say, that this country wastes resources. And he made a very telling point about how the elites in this country are dissipating the scanty resources that we have. Listen, he says, this is a purely voluntary work. And members of the Council of State are generally people of accomplishment in their lives. We don't put anybody riff-raff on the council. Somebody who has worked, experienced, most often retired from their positions with their own pensions and emoluments. Then you come on a council, and as he said in his statement, you pay him regularly every month with other privileges that didn't go into details, but I believe includes perhaps a car, a driver, a travel allowance, petrol. Then after all that, something that is purely voluntary, you send 300,000 plus. Those who are in the position to change the system will not do so because they stand to gain, they benefit. Somebody explained to me that regarding the MPs, the Ex-gratia is their own money that is kept and refunded to them at the end of their 4-year tenure as a form of pension. That's how the person explained to me. And frankly, I haven't taken time to find out whether that is the case. But the fact still remains that if you serve your nation for 4 years and you are given a lump sum, and if you compare that to the other kinds of awards that others are given, people have served for 30 years, 25 years, 35 years, and they go away and go to SNES, and every month they are given thousands or less cities. That's what's happening. What is the fairness in the system? You see, we are breeding a system where the elites continue to exploit the country. Go to other so-called state-owned agencies, and the kinds of packages they have to walk away. And we can't pay our nurses, we can't pay our teachers, and you see, I think we need to overhaul the system. So much is spent on the small group of citizens serving the country and a pittance given to the large majority of people who toil day and night.
Away from that, some educationists want government to expand digital infrastructure to enhance access to quality education. According to them, bridging the infrastructural deficit would help improve digital learning and distance education. Mouse Numon has more in the following report.
With the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic, the world is facing a severe learning crisis, depriving hundreds of millions of children, young people and adults of access to education, leaving many of the education-related targets of the Sustainable Development Goals well off track. In Ghana, the COVID-19 pandemic severely impacted children's access to quality education, exacerbated the existing inequalities and worsened existing barriers. In that regard, a lecturer at the College of Engineering of Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, Professor Mark Adom Asamoah, is calling on government and other stakeholders to make provisions for expanding digital and distance learning initiatives. He made the call whilst speaking at the Maiden National Digital and Distance Learning Conference 2022.
It is important that we are able to get our various online equipment. With the online equipment, we must have the various ICT-based equipment that we need. We must also ensure that we have the needed bandwidth for the internet, and also ensure that the digital technology is available for students.
Chief of Education at UNICEF, Tara O'Connell, explains that conferences such as these will improve the digital aspect of Ghana's education system.
What we will see is an enhanced usage of technology in the classroom. Hopefully, we will see a longer-term plan for connectivity of all schools in Ghana to the internet, and the use of technology-based and digital solutions in all classrooms in Ghana.
Executive Director at the Center for National Distance Learning and Open Schooling, Nana Jemfi Ejabo, however, gave the assurance of extending the digital and distance learning program to rural areas.
We are not leaving any child out.
The head of food science and technology at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, Professor Isaac Williams Ofosu, is warning that Ghana's food system and supply chain is a recipe for poor health outcomes. He says a sustainable transformation of Ghana's food system is essential for better health. Love FM's Kwesi Debra has more in this report.
According to the World Health Organization, 1 in 10 people fall ill from contaminated foods each year. The magnitude of public health burden due to foodborne diseases is comparable to that of malaria and HIV/AIDS. Speaking as part of activities to mark the World Food Safety Day, Professor Fosu urged stakeholders in the food industry to fashion out ways to ensure sustainable, safe food production.
Unfortunately, our behavior does not match the requirement for food safety. The way we build food systems and how we organize food supply chains can prevent infectious and toxic hazards, microbial pathogens, including bacteria, viruses, and parasites, chemical residues, biotoxins, and other noxious or dangerous substances from getting onto our plates. We need to transform food systems to deliver better health, and we need to do so in a sustainable manner. Food systems policy makers, practitioners, and investors should reorient their activities to increase the sustainable production and consumption of safe foods in order to improve health outcomes.
World Food Safety Day, which is marked on June 7 annually, aims to inspire action to help prevent, detect and manage foodborne risk. This year, KNU is to focus on plastics in food. Leader of the organizing team, Dr. Abinabwache, said the day provides an opportunity to strengthen efforts to ensure that the food we eat is free from especially plastics.
The whole idea is to inspire and then create the awareness on the issues regarding the safety of our food. I think plastics in general is a challenge in Ghana, but especially when it comes to food, then there is a health issue. So how then can we solve this main challenge and make sure that our food is safe, if not from anything, at least from the plastics that we have?
A senior lecturer at the department, Dr. Herman Eric Lutrot, noted proper plastic labeling is crucial for a healthy population.
All right, so there are different types of plastics for different uses. Okay, not all plastics are meant to be used for packaging food, so that's the first thing. And even when it comes to packaging food, there are different plastics for different uses or different applications. So there are some plastics that can handle high temperatures. There are plastics that can handle low temperatures. There are plastics that are microwave safe. So we need those designations on the containers so that we know how to use them.
Reporting for JoyNews, Kwesi Debra.
The Commander Edina Eguafo Abirim Municipal Assembly says it is making every effort to discourage persons with disability from roaming the streets to beg for money. According to the Municipal Chief Executive, Solomon Eboapia, to achieve the Assembly's dream, it has begun equipping all persons living with disability with the needed skills and tools to empower them and make themselves sufficient. Richard Kojinyako has more in the following report.
Setting up such people with alternative abilities so they could generate their own income and be self-sufficient. He says the Assembly's responsibility is to discourage the practice where people stand on the street to beg because of their disabilities.
I don't want to see anybody loitering around begging for money, but it is our responsibility to make sure that we empower them economically, to make sure that they become self-reliant, they become self-responsible and able to cope and live a life like all of us. Because disability does not necessarily mean inability. And indeed, they have demonstrated to us that the story of somebody from Dompoase Kokwado, he was given a machine last year or last 2 years. Today, he has bought another machine and able to employ somebody also to engage in the same business. So these stories are stories that we should be encouraging. These are the stories that we are sharing with our colleagues with the disability, that disability does not mean inability. So that all of us can live in a one world, one nation with one common agenda.
Head of Department for Social Welfare and Community Development for the Commander Edina Eguafo Abirim Municipality, Sylvester Ntiamwa Jampo, indicated the reason for giving this gift to the persons with disability within the district. He says his outfit has plans to embark on periodic monitoring to ensure that the items handed over to them are put to good use to benefit the people living with disability within the municipality.
The Assembly has been supporting them periodically. So there's data available to ensure that those group of persons who want to go to school are properly catered for. The assembly pays the fees of these people. Those who are into training to the assembly pays for them. Needed to give them startup items in order that they will make use of the stock containers we provided them. So we gave them these provision items to stock them. Then a few beneficiaries also requested for deep freezers to undertake fishing business. You know, Elmina and its environs is full of fishing activity. So these deep freezers are given to them so that they can undergo fishing.
The assembly is calling on stakeholders in the municipality to lend a helping hand to persons living with disability in the municipality. Reporting for JoyNews, Richard Kwejenyako, Cape Coast.
That's all for today's edition of the AM News. My name is Pakwisi Shandov. Do enjoy the rest of the day. The show continues with Benjamin and Bernice.
Well, thanks for staying with us. Bernice Abubeidu Lanza. Where is she? Oh, there she is. It's a beautiful brand new day, isn't it?
Drama. Good morning. How are you?
I should have read drama or something in addition to everything in my skill set. But I was hoping you would react to that. It's a beautiful brand new day. You should go like doom 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 doom. What do you say? Shall we do this again? It's a beautiful brand new day. Hello, wherever you are. Thank you for joining the conversation. We're about to get into the newspapers. You're looking green. You're looking flowery. You're looking lovely.
Thank you. You are too.
Yeah, but you light up the set more.
Thank you.
When I watch you on TV.
The yellow you're wearing complements my green.
Oh, I didn't take a look at that. Yeah, you're right.
You're always in sync, you know.
All right, so this morning, let's get into the papers. I have the Daily Graphic, Republic Press, BNFT, and the Custodian. What do you have?
I've got the Daily Guide, Ghanaian Times, the Finder, and the Publisher.
Okay.
Benjamin, I'd like to start with the Ghanaian Times.
Let's do this.
Banner story. Danger looms on Malam Kaswa Highway as mad flow takes over toll booth Old Barrier stretch. We've also got man killed, others injured in renewed communal clash in Boku. Shops, schools, hospital closed. Boku needs to be looked at closely again.
Looked at?
Yes.
Did you say looked at?
Yes.
I mean, we need to, I don't want to use certain expletives on air, but we just need, we've had these things brewing, and don't we realize that those are recipes for disaster, especially with regard to the terrorist threat?
Well, so check the story out, Benjamin. And later in the show, we'll be talking about expensive menstruation. And we showed you a promo to that particular story. But here's another thing. Adolescents in the Upper West region using polythene bags as condoms.
You know, sometimes I hear some stories and it strikes me as though we were light years, aren't we? Behind some parts of the world. In the 21st century, some things just beat my mind. But this points to a problem. You remember back then when we had the adverts, the ABCs of all of that, abstinence, be faithful, condom use, and all of that. I mean, for someone like me, Catholic, yeah, we may have our, but even Pope Francis has said it, look, when it comes to these, protecting yourself is saving yourself for God's work is the best. But when people can't even have access to, you know, contraception, or maybe they can't afford it, you don't know. And our HIV numbers, have you seen? Especially when COVID came and we're paying a lot of attention to it, and rightfully so. There was a bit of an upsurge. There were indications, look, don't throw away the fight against HIV. We had to resuscitate that. But this makes for very, very sad reading.
But you know, the issue here is not even the cost. It's about the,
yeah. So I was just conjecturing what.
But I thought I should just say that, and it makes the story more interesting.
What's the twist?
You're shy.
But that in itself is a problem. Do you realize that? It is a problem. If the system is such that people will be stigmatized, so to speak, when they go to purchase, you know, as some will say, the rubbers, then we create a system where, because people are shy, they will do the wrong thing, exposing themselves, they'll get infected. Some of them definitely will, and then we have, you know, a case on our hands. But before you go on, let's bring in Dr. Asa Santi, who joins the conversation, gracious enough to join us for another morning. Doc, a very good morning to you, sir. Hello, Doc.
Good morning.
Good morning. I love your frames. Reminds me of something that I have. Oh, Bernice, have I told you Doc is a former lecturer of mine?
Oh, is he?
Yes, he taught me political science at a point.
I'll find out from Doc behind the scenes what kind of student you were. But Doc, before you join...
An ace student.
Beyond your performance in academics, I want to know what kind of student you were. Doc, before you joined, we were talking about the story on the front page of the Ghanaian Times about adolescents in the Upper West region using polythene bags as condoms. And the story is by Lydia Darlington Fojo from WA. And the young people say they are shy. The other thing is that they say they live in very small communities. And so once you go to purchase a condom, before you get home, your mother or your father has been told. and we know the impact this has even on their health, their general health, because where are they getting these polythene bags from? How sterile, how safe are they? What are they introducing into their bodies when they use these things? Doc, your quick thoughts on this.
Yeah, very unfortunate situation. It's all boils down to a lack of education. There has not been an effective education on these things. So some people don't know how to go about them. And that is all. If we start the process now by giving effective education, people will get to know that, after all, there is no crime going to purchase a condom from a shop. And then those, pharmacy attendants will also do the needful by, not stigmatizing those who go there to purchase these things. So we need education, effective one, of course, and this will be a thing of the past.
Page, and it has to do with the danger looming on the Malam Kaswa Highway. I don't know if you've ever used that stretch in recent times and what happens to it after a heavy rainfall. So in the center spread, you see the full picture there, and it's terrible. I mean, on Sunday, there were people who sat in traffic on this road for close to 4 hours for a journey they could have done in 20 minutes. And I'm not even exaggerating. This is the reality of many people. We've done this story before. I remember 2 years ago, Max Olakmoba was very heavy there, speaking to people. The problem still exists, Doc.
Do you think we want to address problems of this country? I don't think so. We always, pay lip service to some of these problems. And then when, we have challenges on our hands, we come back, pretend as if we care for the people and that we are ready to deal with the problems head on. It's not true. Let us face it. Because we have seen this time and again. And what effort have we done to arrest this situation? We only shout about it, go to sleep. The next time we have the rains, then we are in deep trouble. Going forward, I think we as citizens must be vigilant enough and then hold holders of political power to account, so that when they refuse to do this thing, the best way to throw them out when they come to us for renewal of their mandate in public office. That's all.
Doc, the other leg to this is what is happening to the settlements, because that place is quite hilly. So the rain washes the sand onto the road, and you're just wondering what is happening. Are we sitting on a time bomb? I remember there were concerns about a possible landslide in these communities. So it's bigger than the roads being affected.
Yeah, but do we have, town and country planning department in this country? Do we have people who inspect the building of structures in this country? Do they draw salary from the government payroll? I mean, I don't get it. All right. Somebody must be up there and be seen to be doing his work. And if they don't, we as citizens should take them on. Vigilance, after all, is the price of liberty. And over the years, we have shied away from this as a people. We need to take up that responsibility more seriously if we want to get things right. Otherwise, look, government will come, government will go. We will not be able to address our problems.
Doc, there's an interesting story. So there are a couple of interesting stories in the Ghanaian Times, but there's one that catches my eye because it's been trending on social media, and it has to do with Togbi Apede returning some 365,000 cedis ex-gratia. Let me just bring some details of the story for those who may not be aware. The paramount chief and Agbogbomefia of the Asogli state, Togbi Apede the 14th, has rejected 365,000 cedis paid to him as ex-gratia for being a member of the Council of State from 2017 to 2020. Now, he says in a statement released that it was not appropriate to receive the said amount, which he already took monthly salaries, he already took monthly salaries and benefited from other privileges for serving on the council. And he also says that he does not think the payment was made to trap him, as is being speculated, but believes it was paid to everybody who served on the Council of State. However, quote, I thought that extra payment was inappropriate for a short, effectively part-time work for which I received a monthly salary and was entitled to other privileges. Doc, you are a political scientist. What does this communicate, this action by Togbi Apede?
This is a shining example that we need to emulate. I salute him. I salute him. More often than not, we are people who, in spite of all the commentary around us, would take this, and then the country will be the loser at the end of the day. We have a leader who says that it's wrong for me to take such an amount from, the government. I'm not interested. Why can't we add it to the national kitty and make something meaningful out of this? I respect him, and I want other political office holders to emulate what he has done. We all need to build this state, but we need to build it with all honesty and sincerity. And that is the way to go. Togbi has shown the way. I dove my heart for him, and I salute him.
And while we wrap up on this particular issue, aside from appreciating the action of the chief, there are those who say 365,000 cedis, besides your monthly pay, besides all the other entitlements, it's just too much for a country like Ghana, which is struggling. And he's just one person. Look at the number of the
I have seen people do the multiplication by Article 71 office holders, and the the millions that, is it over 190 million sort of, that we end up then paying to these ministers, deputies, members of a council of state, generally Article 71 office holders. And people say that, especially in times when we are telling everybody to tighten their belts, it appears some can still afford to not only, open up their belts, maybe they don't have belts at all, so there are no belt hooks.
See, sometimes I'm amazed about some of our comments and attitude towards some of these things. We keep on, as you rightly said, that we need to tighten our belts to take care of some of these things. But what is happening? Look at that, 71 office holders. What are they receiving? Who has talked about that? Ex-gratia and all that. Are they not part of the public service? Are they not also rendering public service? Why can't we also touch their emolument if there is a need to do so? That conversation, we always want to shy away from that. Look at what they are taking. I mean, what we are seeing in the area of, a Council of State members. One would have thought that even that body, we should turn it into a second chamber, so that when we are paying for something that we are also happy with. All right. We have a body with all the expertise in there, And government, by law, is not supposed to take their decisions when they arrive at 1, simply because it's an advisory body. Why can't we make it a body whose decisions will be binding on government? Look at the expertise, the people that we have there. Turn it into a second chamber, and let's see how much we can pay them and then enjoy their services. After all, they are also people that we pay. So why can't we regularize the whole process, make it more effective as a second chamber, where they will not shy away from certain controversial issues. They will deal with them because of their expertise, experience, and whatnot. That there are some of these things that the main legislature always shy away from. They will be bold to tackle them and tackle them head on.
It's interesting, you look at these dimensions. Yesterday, talking about public sector wages and what the government statistician had said, the sort of furore it had raised. I brought up this specific matter about Article 71 office holders and whether, look, when you're telling the rest of the people, times are hard, tighten your belts, and you're increasing public sector wages by about 7%, they would also be willing to do same. But what I got from the academics was, well, this is the law. They are merely complying with the law. So the law says they should get X amount. But that is where I feel, Doc, that conscience should come in. And I feel he reflected that. When you go on social media and you look at the reactions to what Togbe Apede has done, I am not saying it is wrong, but I imagine the look on the faces of the other members of the Council of State who had same hit their accounts and said, well, I'm not saying it is wrong, don't get me wrong, but I'm saying we seem not to have that feeling for the rest of the people. 3 to 5% in this country have so much, and the masses, the poorest 30%, it is just sad the way people live. Bernice was talking about the fact that some people would, even for different reasons, use rubber, polythene as protection when they're having intercourse. That is where we are as a country. I don't know. I really don't know.
We are only being hypocritical. That is all. We are only being critical because sometimes we are confronted with situations and we are not able to address them properly. Let's look at the government statistician's, lecture that he gave, that most of the public servants, all right, are earning something more than what they work for. Very unfortunate, statement. I'm not sure.
He clarified yesterday, he clarified, Doc, that he did not say that public sector workers are overpaid, that it was just an economic analysis of the efficiency or effectiveness of workers, not even public sector workers alone, workers generally in the country. So it wasn't that public sector workers are overpaid. That is what he says.
If that, I'm happy to hear that, because I was going to chastise him because he is also part of the public service, his outfit, and that it will be an indictment on him to say that. And I was going to ask, has he come across even one institution that they work very well and that they were not overpaid? A study like this, we want to see some deviations and then exemptions and whatnot. So it's good that he has come to clear the air. Otherwise, I was going to take him on seriously. But coming back to the conscience matter that you talk about, right? Sometimes when it suits us, we say that that is the position of the law. If it doesn't suit us, we attack the law. Look, I am not a lawyer, but what is law? It is nothing but the will of the expression of the people. It's an instrument that we use to regulate human conduct and make society better. So if the law exists and the law is not inuring to the benefit of society, what is the point of keeping it in the books? Why can't you look at it? But because it suits us, it gives us what we need, expense of the rest, then we think that it's okay. That is unfair. Look, a time will come that when people begin to demand their share of the national cake and it becomes so widespread, then we are in difficulty. And that is what I, as a political scientist, want to, caution the society about. That let us be fair to all manner of workers in this country. Because if you look at even the directive principle of state policy, it's saying that equal work for equal pay. Right. And we see the disparity and it creates disincentive for work. We need to address this.
Well, let's quickly go through the Daily Graphic newspaper. When you look at the middle spread or the center spread, 45,000 students benefit from free TVET education. That's according to Vice President Dr. Mahamadou Baumia. There are other stories there. 2022 Green Ghana Day, Lands Ministry targets 20 million trees. Friday, there's after 7-year break, Insurance Awareness Month relaunched, and MTN Ghana contributes 3.1 billion Ghana cedis to national revenue. But two quick stories to take a look at very briefly. The nation's auto hub is losing its luster. Floods push dealers out. I'm talking about those who operate around the Odo area and how, again, our failure to do the right thing is causing them a whole lot of havoc. The perennial disaster has forced many of the automobile companies to either close down or find alternative and safer locations to keep their businesses. Just tie that, Doc, into this other bit. So the EU is blaming Russia for a global food crisis, and Russia's UN ambassador stormed out of a UN Security Council meeting after the European Council president blamed Russia's invasion of Ukraine for causing a global food crisis. Of course, this crisis has affected some more than others, and it's something that our government has touted time and again. Maybe your reaction to one of these stories, or both?
Yes, I'll look at the EU and their criticisms leveled against Russia for the world food crisis. It's very unfortunate that we are in such a situation, because if you look at the position of Russia on this Ukraine matter, it's a cause for worry. But my question is, why do we as a global society want to sit down for one country to hold us to ransom? Are we doing something wrong or something enough to address the food challenges that we have? It is food for thought. We need to up our game and then be self-sufficient in terms of the things that we produce for our own consumption. If you continue to rely heavily on people, a time will come, they will hold us to ransom. So for me, this is beginning of more things to come, and the world must take a critical look of this and address it head on.
Let's get into Republic Press now. And Ashaiman District Court grants fried fish thief 10,000 Ghana cedi bail. It's interesting when you see these stories because, it points to something. It points to a broken system. But the Ashaiman District Court has granted bail in the sum of 10,000 cedis with two sureties to one Richard Akwete, a driver's companion, for stealing contrary to Section 1241 of the Criminal Offences Act 1960, that is Act 29. The court, presided over by Ms. Eleanor Kakra Baines Butche, granted bail after the accused had pleaded not guilty to 3 counts of stealing, unlawful damage, and unlawful entry. Adjourned for the accused to reappear on June 28, 2022. Sometimes the bread and butter matters. And it's a question we've been asking, people have been asking in this country. Yes, there are other charges in there if you look at it. So 3 counts of stealing, unlawful damage, unlawful entry, that is fine. But was this gentleman, and that is not to justify his actions, did he do this merely out of what? Hunger, out of, the economic situation? But we have people in authority who can do all sorts of things, siphon money that belongs to all of us, and the law seems not to even want to bite them. It's quite a conundrum. But when you look at the legal aspect of it, per our penal code as well, it stipulates what the penalties for what are. And so that is where the problem is. It is not with the justices of the court. It is what the law says, which is why some people propose that we take a second look at our laws, because people are getting away with, now we've had misdemeanors changed to felonies and all of that, but it's a pretty tricky situation when I hear of these stories. Doc, any reactions to that?
My position on this thing is before the courts, appropriate forum. Let them deal with this, and we'll come and run the necessary commentary about it.
Construction of Temakwashi interchange is to commence in August. That's according to Sector Minister Amwakwata. Oti Boateng's successor outdoored Showtime in MPPF stage set for national contest. And Togbe Afede stirs trouble as this rejection of ex-gratia increases calls for its abolition, basically. So now, on the back of what we were talking about, some are even saying, a bit close to what you were suggesting, that it's either we get a second chamber out of the Council of State, or maybe for the work they do, and again, this is not to demean the work they do, but Togbe himself in a statement says, we sit very few times in a year. What are we doing? So that I got a salary. I don't need ex-gratia. And again, for me, I feel it is an appeal to the conscience of people in leadership, especially those who have been there, you've done that, you have, that can go into, how about people say, I have it all. You know what? This sum of money, I'm donating it to, let's say, my community, whatever. They don't have this school. I'm building a school. That is my gift to the community. Whatever happened to charity in this country? Doc, anyway, there's also Galamsey Don Caged. Your quick reactions. I'm done with Republic first, Doc, and then we can
Yes, we have said it time and again that, look, that institution or body is an important one. That is a Council of State. But our worry is that they are just an advisory body. So if we want to pay, ensure value for money, look at the sums of money we give to them in terms of what? Salary and in terms of allowance. Then why can't we put them in effective what? Make them very effective so that their decisions will be binding on government. For me, that is the way we should go. So that if we see that what we are giving them is too much of the work that they do, why can't you slash it? If it is too little, why can't you top it up? And it's when we are able to do this type of analysis, then we'll come to the conclusion that whether you, maintain it or scrap it, the decision will come from that. Because if you look at what Toby is saying, is that we made fewer times and that we are earning so much. It means that, look, not much work is there for them to do, or they don't have much on their hands, so to speak. If we want to make effective use of that body, I think we should go the second chamber way. Because look, you are likely to have a lot of people who will follow the footsteps of Toby and say that we are donating, we are doing this, we are doing this. Because let us look at the caliber of people. These are people who have distinguished themselves in all the walks of life, and they are in there. If you like, they are doing the last national service, and some of them, what you are giving them, they are not interested in. All that they want to do is to leave something behind as a legacy for society to emulate and appreciate. So if we want to get the best out of this, I think we should go the second chamber way and then make the best use of these resources.
All right, Doc, quickly on the front page of the Ghanaian Publisher, government to train 5,000 ICT girls yearly. That's according to Esla Wusu-Kuful. And NPP opens nominations for national officers. Opuni trial. I'll definitely not consider Lithovit purchase a loss to the state. And this coming from Mr. Daniel Ohinie Jukun, a former board chairman of Cocoa Board. And Green Ghana seedlings not for sale, according to the lands minister. Quickly on the front page of the Daily Guide, NDC cries over 2020 defeat. One more dies from Apiate explosion. Really sad there. NPP ready for national elections. And money retro girl saved. That's according to her mother. We are glad to hear about that. But there's also another girl who's been left traumatized after her father hired boys to beat her for being involved in a relationship. Now, here's what happened. The young guys reportedly threw water at her, said they were casting out the spirit of fornication from her. But here's the irony. They are said to have beaten her. She ran into the bush. They tried to sleep with her. Some actually, and sorry, this is quite sensitive about this morning, tried to insert their fingers into her. And the girl has been left traumatized. Her uncle, who lives in South Africa, saw the video. So the young boys who perpetrated this act took videos, shared it to other people, and it went viral on social media. According to the story in the Daily Guide, the police is yet to respond. No arrests have been made. The young girl is traumatized, and her parents have still not checked her at any health facility?
You know what really, before Doc comes in, what really got me, I mean, the fact that her own stepfather, you know, laid the foundation for this entire enterprise. But let me just say this, for those who still do not know, it is very wrong, not just legally to do this, yes, legally of course, but even filming such things and spreading them is illegal. When you are caught, the penalties, you may live to regret it for the rest of your life. So if you're watching us and maybe you have ever thought of any such stupidity, so to speak, you should cast those demons out of yourself before it gets... but maybe your thoughts on that, Doc?
3 factors are responsible for this. 1, socialization has broken down. In the family, in the school, churches, mosques, public places, and all that. Where, if you take the family, where we inculcate right values in children, what are we seeing? It has broken down. The do's and don'ts system within our families, gone. So now, there is nobody to monitor what a child does. There's nobody at home or who is following the child's development, all right? And that is a problem. Go to school where the curriculum, all right, shy away from, you know, effective education in this regard. And that is a problem you find ourselves. The churches, the mosques, the religious places, what are they preaching, all right? Something else other than what? The proper internalization of these ethos of society that makes us people better. And of course, the national education that we have, NCCE, what are they doing in this respect? All right. The justice system, what are we seeing? People who perpetrate these crimes, what has happened to them? All right. What do we see as the justice system delivering to them to serve as deterrent? These are all factors that have brought us this far. If we want to make this state a better one, we need to take a critical look at these factors and more and address them in a way that it will make this society fit for human habitation.
But Doc, what are your thoughts on our social services? So clearly this young girl, we are told, is traumatized. They had to take an uncle who lives outside the country to intervene. In other jurisdictions, once this video went viral, that young child will be looked out for, taken out of the family, given some medical treatment, given some psychological help.
There is institutional breakdown. All right. This calls for, you know, a rapt response to this problem. What are the institutions doing? Are we supposed to talk about that before we get them energized? They know their duties. Once there is a trigger event, you have seen it in the media and other places. Quickly, you need to rush to that and then deal with head-on. What are we seeing? See if the institutions do not exist, and then we need to do a lot to lift up the game of these institutions so that they can respond to some of these things in a very fast manner.
Doc, let me run you through 3 stories in 2 newspapers very quickly. The BNFD, and you can just maybe in some 30 seconds share your thoughts on whichever one you'd pick. AGRA and MOFA, that is let me just get you the Alliance for a Green Revolution in Africa, and the Ministry of Food and Agriculture intensify support for organic fertilizer as food insecurity fears grow, and that's a major concern. There's also government misses bond raising target by 28%, and for a 3rd consecutive month in May 2022, this has happened, dampening liquidity conditions on the money market continued to weigh on government's auction target as 6.43 billion Ghana cedi target size was missed. So government is missing its bond targets. There's a push for organic fertilizers. In the Custodian newspaper, National Cathedral to generate $95.5 million in 5 years. That is what the speculation is. The speculation.
Yeah, but talking about the National Cathedral, guess what I just saw?
What?
So this is by the Ministry of Finance, signed by Ken Oforiatta, RE seed money for the National Cathedral of Ghana. You know, there have been calls for government to publish
right.
the amount. So here's what we are seeing. $25 million.
Well, that's the latest.
Yeah, that's the latest.
That's the latest. Almost 200 million, CDs. And we're saying that it will generate 100 million in 5 years. I don't know what your thinking is, but to be very blunt, and this is a subject
100 million CDs or dollars?
They're talking dollars.
Okay.
They're talking dollars here. And pardon me, but I just get befuddled thinking about this entire situation. But maybe I'll hold my horses. There'll come a time when I'll have more time to, delve more into this entire National Cathedral bit. Sometimes you bring certain stuff up and it's as though you were the devil because you were against this. But when you have 3,000 nurses leaving your shore who left because they were not getting the right pay, when you have people using, what do you call it? Polythene instead of condoms, when you're struggling to pay NAPCO trainees and NSS trainees, when your roads are as bad as they are, when your Tema motorway, this country, anyway, it gives me a headache. But maybe your concluding thoughts. That's how I will wrap, Doc.
I share your pain. I share your pain. And why am I saying that? Look, the bottom line is that we don't prioritize the things that are of importance to us. No. All right. I'm not saying that cathedral project is not good. But at this time, is that what we need? Where people are lying on the bare floor, giving birth, where teachers don't have, resources to teach, where up to now, government, educational system at the basic level in terms of what, textbook is missing, where there are large army of unemployed youth parading in our streets, doing nothing, and we want to build cathedral. Look at our health system. One would have thought that, looking at the credibility of the president and the people around him, why can't you leverage on that and even solicit for one city project, one city, donation to build first-class hospital so that the Kuku Seller, the Kayaye can also go there free of charge and see the multiplying effect that when that structure is erected and people can go and have health services free of charge, you see the next time the Cocoa Seller will donate 2 cities, not even one, and be proud of it. I was in Washington, D.C., and I saw, things that people have done there and the contribution. They've, erected walls, written down their names, that these were people who contributed. And these are the things that we need to study and help to bring into our system and make it work. You build cathedral, you destroy structures, and when people talk about it, nobody is ready to accept it. And then what pains me is that, as you rightly said, as if you, the one talking about, you are against the word of God and all that. Look, it is important to address our issues and forget about following all manner of stories that will not, bode well for our country. And people come out, strongly to defend some of these things, but they hear story. Look at people we see on television every now and then, that my child is sick and that I'm appealing for funds and all that. Is that what our leaders want us to see? Where are those religious leaders? Do they see these things? Does it comfort them? And that is that our priority?
Well, some of them cite the issue of the woman with the alabaster box and say, well, you will always have the poor with you. And why would you chastise somebody for pouring their hearts out to their Lord and their God? That's the defense they raise, even on...
Am I the one to pay for that? I am the one to pay for it. All right, who says that I believe in your God that you believe in? What about I don't even believe in the existence of God? I want to exist as a human being and then take my destiny in my own hands. Why are my taxes being used for this exercise where there are other pressing issues? Can't we look at it again?
Are you with those who say that, this is the president's dream, not our dream? So if he wanted to do this, he should have found a way to fund it himself. Even if he wants to use our taxpayers' money, then it must come with our approval. Do you agree with such
I agree 100% to that. Because look, is it the case that I share in the president's dream? Do I believe in what the president believes in? All right. I mean, these are questions, legitimate questions. Who says that I even believe in the existence of God and believe in projects like this? A conversation of national character will elicit the type of response that we want to deal with this issue, but not a blanket policy that take it or leave it. This is what we are going ahead with, and that you have people supporting. It's very unfortunate. Governance is a dialogue. It's give and take. So you have a position, bring it out, let's discuss and find a common ground that everybody will be proud of and will defend it when that policy comes on attack. But if it becomes a blanket something and it's at the expense of the taxpayer, then I'm afraid you get such sentiment.
And that is the aspect that, gets really rubs my craw, the bit about willy-nilly, upil. This is what we're going to do.
But there's a price to pay for this. If you don't want to listen in government and you want to have a posture that annoys the public, then the price is what? During election, people will not listen to the message. Irrespective of how potent, how useful that message is, they are not supposed to listen to it, because you are not prepared to listen to them when it comes to policies for the people.
Thank you so much, Doc, for joining the conversation. And we want to see more of the fashionable glasses, the frames. I loved this one. Do have a wonderful day.
Thank you.
Do have a wonderful day. God bless, brothers.
You too. Yeah.
So we're getting into sports now, up next. And after that, we get into our big stories. Do stay. Some 38 minutes off the top of the hour. Thank you for staying with us on the AM show. Now, as we tackle our big stories, we have two members of parliament. I'll be introducing them shortly. But we're going to be zeroing in on this entire bit when it comes to public sector workers and what the government statistician has said. We'll talk about the LGBTQI plus bill. And we'll also get into that matter to do with a bipartisan committee as proposed by the minority to get into election 2020. But beyond that, we'll have a few conversations, things that we've been talking about, things that are of national concern. But our guest this morning, Collins Adumako Mensah, Member of Parliament, Ifija Kwabre North. He joins the conversation. Thank you so much for joining the conversation, sir.
Thank you for having me.
All right. We also have Honorable Murtala, Member of Parliament for Tamale. Is it Tamale North or Tamale Central? I get confused.
I'm not going to respond to this.
Don't do that to me. Sometimes it gets... I get it right most of the time. But sometimes...
Tamale Central.
Tamale Central, yes. But gentlemen, thank you so much for joining the conversation.
Thank you. And this is the first time meeting you in person.
Oh, yeah.
It's the time when we speak on the AM show.
Yeah.
I'm on Zoom.
Okay.
And then my brother will be here, has a field day, and then he'll be lambasting the government. Today I'm here with him.
Well, ask him whether he's comfortable with the mess we are experiencing in this country today.
Anyway, so let's get into this other matter that I want to bring up, even before we get into the major stories. We have the latest when it comes to the National Cathedral, and we were talking about it in the course of the news review. What is your take on that entire development? $25 million expended, seed money, so to speak. We hear it's even been paid already. And there's also the bit about David Ajay and Associates.
And another 20 million.
Getting some, is it 32 million Ghana cedis?
The billion?
In there.
Is it billion or million?
Million.
Okay.
Million. They can't possibly be getting more than what the cost of the National Cathedral is. Your quick take on that?
Do you even know the cost? It keeps changing. And good morning. Good morning to my brother. Sometimes I can understand the challenge in defending this government. There are some of our colleagues who are opposition in opposition. I shudder to think that my honorable brother is one of the few who are opposition in opposition. And of course, good morning to our viewing public and the good people of Tamale Central. We live in a country that is governed by laws. We agreed as a people that never again should we be governed by a military dictatorship. And for which reason we democratized since 1992, which came into fruition in 1993. Even though they boycotted the drafting of the 1992 Constitution, when they felt that they didn't need to sit around one table with fishermen, teachers, and nurses to draft the Constitution through the Consultative Assembly. Be it as it may, we have all agreed collectively that democracy is the way to go. And having agreed to charter the path of democracy, you have no excuse than to absolutely succumb to the dictates of the democratic processes. And in this case, the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana, the laws that we have all agreed collectively through legislative and some rulings of our courts to be the guiding principles on which we conduct business. The law is no respecter to a person, not even the president. The Constitution and the law says that for you to expend a dime of the public money, you must have the approval of the entirety of the people of this country. Of course, you cannot gather the over 32 million Ghanaians to approve that. That is why the approval is done through their representatives. That is, in this case,
Members of Parliament.
That is one. Two, it is also important for every government to understand that you are holding the resources of this country in trust. You don't own it. President Nana Addo never came into office with his money. The monies that he's managing for the good of the people of this country, if he is even doing that, is monies that belongs to us. The same Constitution also says that for you to engage in an international transaction that involves an international entity, you must have the approval of the people of this country through Parliament. There are several issues. In fact, the Supreme Court has a ruling in the matter of this engagement, and the Supreme Court position was that Parliament must set the threshold as to how much constitutes, a financial transaction which warrants the approval of Parliament. As we see today, Parliament hasn't done yet. So what is significant is what the laws of this country says we should do. Now, you have a president who illegally dipped his hands into state coffers, disregarded the constitutional provision, disregarded the decency in...
When you say he disregarded the constitutional provision, what are you pointing to?
He knew, and he ought to have known. As a lawyer who practiced, in fact, presidents has been in the bar virtually my entire age, and therefore he ought to have known that this is what the law says, that you cannot take monies from the state funds without the approval of Parliament. And that is why even when we approve budget...
But what if he has God's approval? It's an enterprise that he says, it's his promise to God.
No.
God reigns supreme, even over your Parliament.
I saw one journalist video, Paul, and I was flabbergasted. And I can make the video available justifying this. And I asked myself, where has democracy and journalism gone to? Sometimes when I listen to such narratives, I am tempted to agree with Cicero when he said that politics was a country idiot, to be very honest with you, because outrageous things happen. Nobody is saying that you shouldn't do ABC, but what we are simply saying, that we are living in a democracy. And President Nana Addo was one of the people who advocated for us to be governed by democratic principles and tenets. So the law is simple. He disregarded the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana. He disregarded even Parliament. Mind you, Parliament is sine qua non to our democratic processes. Again, why would your personal pledge with your creator becomes a responsibility of the state? The NPP never had in the manifesto for 2016 and 2020 that they were going to build a cathedral. After the election, the president told us that he made a personal pledge with God, his creator, and that should he be given the mandate to govern this country, he was going to build a cathedral. Why would suddenly your personal pledge becomes a responsibility and a burden on all of us at a time when school feeding, and I listened to this on your station.
Right.
Our kids are fed with 37 pesos.
97.
Sorry, 97 pesos.
Right.
I have a less than 2-year-old daughter. It will be suicidal if I want to feed that girl with 97 pesos a day. These kids are fed with 97 pesos. The caterers are demanding an increase from 97 to 3 cedis. This Minister for Finance who is there because he's a family relation to the president, says that there is no money. Yet we can find money.
And let me quickly
look.
No, hold on. I'm just saying, you say who is there because he's a relative to the president. He's been finance minister. I cannot confirm that. So
and he failed in everything. Tell me one single success story you can say about this minister for finance. Tell me one. Unemployment, he took it from 6.8 to 19% per the census. And even if you want to go by his own document, to 12.6% in the 2022 budget. The same Minister for Finance took the CD to the dollar, 3.6, 3.7 to 8.2 this morning. The same Minister for Finance took the debt portfolio of this country. He served in the Finance Committee. How much was it under NBC? Less than 60%. They said President Mahama was incompetent. Today, how much is it? Official document puts it at 81.3%. We think it's even more than that. Tell me one single thing. The same minister, the NHIA is indebted by 2 billion. We were just told that they
Are you looking at the our GDP and its growth over the years? Are you considering that as well?
To what? Oh, wow. And the NDC, we're not looking at the growth of the GDP.
No, but I'm just saying, the growth of our economy.
To what?
In a buoyant economy.
Buoyant economy.
Buoyant. It's in 2021, 2022.
If we're going to go by that logic, then we should trace it up to the days before independence.
You're saying there is no positive, and I'm saying that. How about that?
What positive?
What would you say about that?
Look, the objective of every decent-minded government is to improve the living conditions of your people. That is everything about governance is to improve the living conditions of your people.
Right.
Tell me what conditions of Ghanaians have been improved under this government and under this minister. So I am saying that in the eyes of all this, when NAPCO beneficiaries haven't been paid, yesterday and the day before, your station carried it, that national service persons went on demonstration that they haven't had their allowances. Myself and he were all in parliament. And I can shudder, I can bet my last penny that he bought food for some national service persons in parliament. Because we have all had such experiences because they haven't gotten...
Did that happen? Is that something you've had to do at a point?
Well, I've had a national service person approach me.
Exactly, look.
In my office.
That they're hungry.
You've had them... hold on for me. You've had them approach you.
Not necessarily for me to buy food for the person, but I've had person.
But have you ever had to do that? Like, get some local food, buy food or something?
We do that as members of parliament all the time.
Well, I am saying that I have had experience where national service persons have approached me and said they are hungry. They are hungry.
In recent times?
Oh, several times. You can go and find out from the coffee shop. And you had to do this. I'm sorry I have to state it, of course. But you see...
Let me just... It's tied to this. Do you feel... I think they get, what, 559 or so. Do you feel it is high time as well that as a country we took a second look at how much, especially in these economic times?
We should.
Because transport fares alone, let's say the person is commuting even in Accra.
Yes.
It means it is gone. So what is that person going to subsist or survive on to do that?
And the sad aspect of it is that these national service persons are validated by their supervisors. If you miss 1, 2, 3 days, per the national service's own, guidance principles, you cannot validate such a person.
Right.
So there are national service persons who will tell you that I can't refuse coming to work, even though I don't have the means to come because we haven't been paid for 2, 3 months. Now, if the person doesn't come to work, it means that that person will not be validated. Right. And the person did not choose not to come to work voluntarily, but he didn't have
So the point...
The point I'm just making is that in the eyes of all these challenges, this president engaged in what they engage in. I want you to ask my brother to be very sincere with his conscience, not with you and with myself, because propaganda will not allow them to do that. And tell your viewing public whether he's comfortable with what this government is doing. Yet you don't find the Ghana Bar Association saying anything about it. You don't find the Transparency International and others saying anything about it. You don't find the doyens of our democracy saying anything about it.
So
a blatant disregard to our laws by a person who touts himself as the protector of our democracy. If President Mahama attempted a scintilla of this, I'm telling you, this country, there would have been series of demonstrations. Why would you do this? If you made a pledge with your creator, what has that got to do with us?
Quick point. So just to clarify, you're saying Nanado has broken the law?
Absolutely.
By, ensuring that this sum of money is made available. You're saying
ensuring that Parliament approves.
He's not going through the proper process.
Yes, and in any, I listened to my good friend, Honorable John Kuma. He's my very good friend. I have a simple advice for him. he should take his time. If he doesn't take time, this government will destroy him. Why? I listened to him on your station. And the first question Evans asked him, whether there was an approval. He said, yes, it was approved in the 2018 financial statement. And Evans was being very smart. And Evans quickly referred...
I followed
He quickly referred to the 2018 financial statement. There was no mention of any amount given for the purposes of the cathedral.
He mentions that if it's under the presidency.
So, he said something that for me was laughable. He said that, it was in the 2018 financial statement, even though it has been established that there wasn't any amount. Granted that it was. He went ahead to say that, yes, because it was in the 2018 budget statement, if we're not able to release monies, we can release monies in 2022. And I tell my friend, I know, when the life of any budget expires, any budget statement expires, if you want to do it, you would have to seek the approval of Parliament. You cannot say, because assuming without admitting that they even had it in the 2018 budget statement, assuming you had it there, it doesn't mean that you can put say in 2020. So what we are simply saying, that the civil society organizations and other people who want us, the clergy, why are they silent on this matter? A clear violation of our laws.
I want you
a clear violation of the Supreme Court.
Finally, because I also want to give Collins quite a bit of time. But like you can see in the Custodian newspaper today, the point is made that the National Cathedral will generate some 95.5 million, let's round it off, $100 million in 5 years. And there's a breakdown.
How did they come?
So they are talking about, according to projections by the Secretariat of the Board of Trustees, it's expected to receive about 400,000 visitors annually from Africa, other parts of the world, and from within Ghana. It is estimated 30% of the visitors, that is 120,000, will be foreigners, 70%, that's 280,000, will be people living and working in Ghana. It goes on to give a bit of a breakdown and the figures we can expect, and this is what it comes to.
Ben,
I can't go through all of them.
We have bigger...
almost $100 million in 5 years. Does that not make it worth it?
That's an absolute lie. How did they come by that? We have bigger cathedrals in Nigeria and others. What? In fact, we have bigger cathedrals in Ghana. Tamale, one of the biggest cathedrals in Ghana is in Tamale in my area. We used to go there, and I still go there all the time. I'm saying that what has it generated? You see, this is what we call get off my back explanation. Because assuming without admitting that it will generate that, you must engage in an illegality. And what is shocking, why would you build the house of God on the pact of lies, deceit, and outright illegality? Why would you want to do that? The same government that is telling us that he's so holier than thou, he is building a cathedral, is promoting LGBTQ, something that the Bible frowns upon.
How is government promoting LGBTQ?
Why? Must I tell you this government is promoting it?
How exactly are they doing
There are LGBTQ billboards everywhere in this country. When they know that our laws in this country frowns upon the conduct of those individuals. You had an organization, when they had the so-called...
The law may not be explicit enough, which is why, what exactly we want to do
so there is uncertainty.
And that is why you have the LGBTQ anti-gay bill in Parliament. That's why you have it there.
Which is being frustrated,
Frustrated by whom?
Ask my brother that he should tell us publicly on this
we'll get into that.
whether he supports the bill.
Don't you worry.
Privately, they support the bill, but publicly, they can't say anything.
What is your take on this entire dynamic? I mean, the projection here is that...
He supports the bill, but publicly, he can't do that.
It will garner for us some $100 million in 5 years. That is about $20 million per year. What is your take?
Let me begin by saying, and I'm saying...
And why that mischievous look? I'm sorry, but you have this look.
You know, he's one of the few honest guys in and I expect him to demonstrate the honesty.
Honest opinion.
Honesty.
You are looking at...
Ask him whether he supports the anti-LGBTQ thing. Privately, he's against it. Publicly, he can't. They have all been calling blind.
Over to you.
Let me make this point, and I'm saying this forcefully, that this government has not demonstrated anything to show that they support LGBTQ.
But they have.
Let's make it very, very clear.
So what's your position?
At no point, I'm coming, and I'll make my position clear for everybody to know. At no point.
Your concerns, they are watching.
At no point has this government made any statement to the effect that they support LGBTQ. Let's make that clear. The president on several occasions has made it absolutely clear.
It is bound to happen.
Oh, please. On several platforms, the president has said that this is not going to happen under his presidency, and he has made that very, very clear.
It is happening.
So let's not go there. And I think we should just clear that this government has not, in any case, made that statement.
And that is why I took him on.
Yes.
The billboards are springing everywhere.
And he asked of my opinion on it. I'm married.
Not your position, no opinion.
I am married. I have kids.
Are you in support of?
I said I am married.
Mutala, let him.
If I wanted to be gay, I wouldn't be married. I am married. I have a wife, beautiful wife as such. I have 3 kids.
So
I can't be gay.
Okay.
That is my response to you.
But others, Mutala, please.
Mutala.
Others will also tell you that this is your choice. We've also chosen not to be.
I am saying I am married. I am not for gayism. That's my position.
You support the bill.
So your position, what is it premised on? Because sometimes people say it's the moral argument, and what is your position?
Whether moral, culturally, I am not in support of it. It's as simple as that.
You are not in support.
I don't like.
So you are in support of the bill.
Well, there are some aspects of the bill that I want amended. And
but generally,
no, that is why
you are in support of the idea.
That is why it is going through a certain process.
Right.
It will come back to the plenary after the committee has done its work for amendments to be done. At that point, I'll make my point clear. I've read the bill. There are some aspects of it.
What aspects are you not comfortable with?
I think we will discuss that. But the general point is that I am not for gayism. As I said, I'm married, I have kids.
There are people who are married who are advocating for it.
Mutala, I am making my point. You asked for my opinion.
Do you support
my point?
Mutala.
Now again, he talked about the.
Let me do this.
I know he supports the bill, but he can't say it publicly.
It's okay, even if
I've made my point.
There are things.
Viewers can.
You may discuss out there that you don't put here. So
viewers can use my position on this matter. About this issue about family, the finance minister is there because he's a family member of the president. He knows that the finance minister is not there because he's a family member.
Really?
He qualifies to be there.
And the mess is created.
Oh, please, we can discuss his performance. But
he has failed in all fronts.
Please, we can discuss that. But I'm saying that he being there is not because he's a brother or a cousin to the president.
So you've made the point, and it's good. We'll come back to the National Cathedral. You've made the point about merit. But do you feel, and you've also said, we can talk about his performance. Let me just hold you to it. Do you feel our finance minister, because some have even suggested that on the back of his performance he should be, axed from office. Do you feel he's done enough to justify his position?
That is the decision for the president to make.
Do you feel?
I said that
as a member of parliament, as a citizen.
That is a decision for the president to make. The president is the appointing authority if he so wishes.
Wait. So let me reverse this. Is that to say that as you sit here, you don't have enough confidence in your finance minister to state categorically?
I do.
That
Why don't I have confidence in the finance minister? I do have confidence.
But you seem to be dilly-dally.
No.
He's a member of the finance committee.
I have confidence in the finance minister. You are asking whether he should go off or not. And I'm saying that decision is for the president, not mine. It's the president's decision. It's the prerogative of the president to decide who becomes the finance minister or not. That's the president's decision. Now, having cleared that, now let's go to the cathedral.
We haven't cleared this one. Who told you?
No, you are not the host. I have cleared that. Now let's go to the cathedral. And as you put it, to be very frank with you, and I'm being very, very objective about this matter. Right. It's a personal opinion.
The other ones.
I don't want you to Mutala.
But he said, I'm being very objective on this matter.
It doesn't mean he's not objective on other matters. But objectivity is exactly what we want on the show. So
allow me to make my point, Mutala.
Right. Yeah.
I'm a Christian. I don't have any issue with building an edifice for God. I'm a Christian.
Right.
Of course, when I walk past Kaukudi and I see the mosque, beautiful edifice. I don't have any problem in having a cathedral. And as you've just read, it is not just a place for worship. There are other things that comes with it. It's like a tourist site. And I've listened to the people around the cathedral. I mean, the managers. I mean, they've espoused a lot of, and you're just reading here, there are tourists, we expect that some number of people come in, get us some revenue. However, what I am not excited about is the revelations coming out now as to the amount of money that have been pumped into the construction. My worry is that it's like it's being serialized. Today we hear it's 20 million. The next day another 25 million. 35 million has been paid to somebody else. I believe very strongly that my advice to government, and I'm a member of government, that the finance ministry as quickly as possible should come out with a statement to explain to everybody the circumstances surrounding the releases of this money.
The finance ministry.
The finance ministry, because all these payments are coming from the finance ministry.
Right.
You get the point I'm making. I'm not too excited about the way it's been is coming into the media as if today you are there, we're giving 20 million, 25 million, 30 million.
Because I listened to Dr. John Kuma and my point
is that the responsible ministry must, as quickly as possible, to calm down nerves, this propaganda going around. Going on, of course. I mean, my brother was talking about cathedral. Obviously, he veered into all kinds of things.
Example.
Oh, please. He veered into all kinds of things. To settle these matters, please, Ministry of Finance, as quickly as possible, bring clarity to this whole process.
Ben, can I ask him a question?
Bring clarity to this whole process.
It's very important.
All right, before you come, and I'm happy as a member of the Finance Committee.
Yes.
You are there, and you are calling on the Finance Minister
to bring clarity to those
to the matter.
Issue about somebody sees this something, he puts it on his Facebook page, then there's a debate about it.
And there's something we have cited as well. We'll show it on the screens as well, but it's from the Office of the President, dated the 19th of October 2020. There you have it on the screen. And it's there you see re-seed money for the National Cathedral of Ghana. Please refer to letter number, and the number is quoted, dated 19th October 2020 from the Chief of Staff's Office of the President. On the above subject matter, copy attached, you are hereby authorized to release the sum of 142,762,500 Ghana cedis, being the equivalent of $25 million, converted at an exchange rate of 5.7105 to the dollar, as seed money to the National Cathedral Secretariat to enable the commencement of planned activities. The expenditure of the said sum should be charged as per the attached specific warrant. And then MDA and MMDAs are to know that henceforth the understated clause is required to be inserted in all contracts. Okay, so and it's signed by the Honorable, of course we have the Honorable Minister of Finance there. It is signed by Honorable Akosua Fremose Opare, Chief of Staff, and those who are copied, the Chairman, the Board of Trustees of the National Cathedral, and it goes on and on. So that is it.
In chief, want to say, Master,
Mutala, what are you saying?
In chief,
you want to say what?
My stomach. My stomach. How would you say it? Help me.
You were saying it.
Is it me yam? What is our crime?
Listen.
No, can I?
There was an initial 20 million Ghana cedis. Today we are hearing of 25. We got to know of 30-something million to David Ajayi. I'm saying.
So how many are the seeds that,
I'm saying,
in a composite sense, form the seed money? Because it's seed.
The ministry responsible for all these payments must, as quickly as possible, bring clarity.
Okay,
release
all
a
right.
statement.
Let's let this matter rest.
I have some questions.
Right. And after this follow-up, it's done for. Let's let this.
With all sincerity, I mean it. He's one of the MPs I have so much respect for. To be very honest with you, I mean, you barely find such honest MPs from the MPP. I can talk about him and Kisi. You see, I read Malcolm X's book, and I just want my brother to take it home so that it becomes a guiding principle. When they asked him about truth, you know why he said that I'm for truth no matter who says it. I'm for justice no matter who is it for or against.
Right.
I'm a human being first and foremost. As such, I'm for whoever and whatever benefits humanity as a whole. You should have said, I'm a Ghanaian. As such, I'm for whatever and whoever benefits this nation. Ask him, as a member of the Finance Committee, has this thing been brought to your attention? Now, he's talking about the fact that the minister must come to clarify. There are some clarification you don't need a minister. The fact is that Parliament didn't approve it. You know that as a member of the Finance Committee. As a member of the Finance Committee, this thing was never brought to your attention. You know that.
Let me ask you, Collins, as a member of the Finance Committee, did you ever cite anything related to this before
but he knows the process. Normally, after the budget has been approved, payments like this does not come back to us.
No.
It does not.
It means that it's look.
You are not getting. You know this.
Allow him to explain. I will allow you to.
No, I don't.
After the budget
know
has been approved,
counter thinking.
Payments does not come to us. It is when the new budget is going to be read that expenditures are brought.
But at some point, for an expenditure like this, the Finance Committee would be privy to the fact that, I mean, this is dated what? We're looking at the 19th of October, 2020.
So the point is that
let me just ask you, up until this point, up until the point when the discourse started about $25 million, were you aware that this money had been paid?
Of this just this morning.
You got to know of it just this morning.
That's why
this morning.
This morning. And that is why I am saying we shouldn't draw conclusions.
No, Masa.
The best is, I'm coming. Mutal, I'm coming. The best is for the ministry.
Okay.
This is coming, is emanating from the Ministry of Finance. It's now out.
We are elected not only to make laws. We have a moral duty and a responsibility to play the oversight responsibility.
So
and within that oversight responsibility, you have an extra oversight. And that is why you are as a finance committee.
Right. And I'm saying that
hold on. You said that when budget is approved.
Yes.
Look, I read from one page to the last page of the budget. You read it. Was this thing captured in the budget?
In which of the years? 2021?
2022.
I didn't see that.
2021,
I didn't see that. That's what I'm saying.
I'm coming.
I did not.
Hold on. 2018, did you see it?
I'm just telling you that I even saw it just this morning.
I haven't finished.
So my point is that,
listen,
to settle these matters, the ministry responsible for all these payments.
And that's why you're calling for.
No, and give us explanation.
Ben, don't allow him to run away.
I'm not running away. I'm here.
This idea of trying to deceive your viewing public into thinking
I'm not deceiving anybody.
that there is something to be settled.
No.
It's a settled matter.
No.
I have asked you as a member of the finance committee.
And I've told you that I have not seen it.
Let me finish. I have asked.
But once I've not seen it, it's not the duty of the ministry to explain.
I have asked you.
That's the point I'm making.
I have asked you as a member of the finance committee. In fact, forget of the finance committee. As a member of parliament, was this thing in the 2018 budget? No. Was it in the 2019 budget? No. Was it in the 2020, 2021 budget? 2022? Maybe perhaps that one has taken some. 2022? No.
I came to parliament in 2022.
I say 2022. Was it in the budget? Was it in the 2021 budget? No. And I'm saying that in this parliament, you are a member of the finance committee. Forget of the other budgets. 2022. The laws of these countries are very clear. And I'm asking you to be very sincere. Take solace in the quotations I gave to you. I read it when I was in SSS1. Take solace in that and tell your viewing public whether this thing was ever brought to your attention or whether it was even in the budget.
Have I not answered this question?
No, you said that when budgets are approved.
Yes.
And I'm not talking of even the estimate. Was it?
All right, gentlemen.
I'm telling you that I have not seen this until this morning.
I can understand your.
Until this morning.
I can understand your.
But the point is that I'm calling on the ministry.
Ben,
I'm calling on the ministry.
Now have a member of the finance committee who is telling us.
I've not seen it.
His attention has just been drawn to this.
Absolutely.
And that is what I find curious.
I saw it this morning.
But of course, he's also being as candid as you have said. He's being candid and saying that I'm seeing it now. I've never seen it.
And my point is that the ministry responsible for this payment has a duty now.
But do you admit, just to cap off this entire conversation, do you admit that it's problematic? That
it is.
As a member of the Finance Committee of Parliament, no other committee, the Finance Committee of Parliament,
it is.
You are this morning.
Listen, it's not even about
getting wind of this
It's
bit.
not even about me being a member of
of Parliament.
The Finance Committee. Budgets are presented to Parliament. So my brother, the fact that I'm in the Finance Committee does not mean that I'm privy to everything.
No, you are
the point is that
to more of the
but the point is that this issue should be available to everybody.
But it's not there.
Yes, so that's what I'm saying. That I saw it just this morning.
All right, gentlemen.
And the point I'm making is that the ministry has a duty. That's a duty. To come out and clarify.
I have a passionate appeal to me, and frankly, if I get the opportunity, I could be on my.
In some 30 seconds.
I'm asking President Nanado, what crime have you committed against him and his government? What crime? That they subject the people of this country at a time when everybody in this country is struggling. My car, how much fuel are you now? You know, this argument about Ghana.
I think we've gone that time with that number. Mutala. So let's move the conversation forward. But let's talk as well. Let's talk about something that
the fact that I ate TZ yesterday. I will eat TZ again. Let's continue.
Let's move the conversation forward to another matter that could, affect electoral fortunes and all of that. I'll start with you, Mutala. Now,
you seem to be starting with me, but that's fine.
Yes. I'll start with you because it's your party.
He's a comrade.
You lost the 2020 election, did you not?
The Supreme Court says so.
You don't know that the NDC lost the 2022 presidential election?
I strongly believe we never lost the elections.
As of today?
I strongly...
You, as member of parliament for Tamale Central, you strongly believe the NDC did not lose the presidential election?
I strongly believe that the elections were rigged, but that is not the issue. What is the issue?
Where is your evidence? Based on what? Because the court threw you out.
You see, there is a proverb in Dagbani. You are in the market, and
nowadays you're beginning to remind me of ABF Hussein.
Yes. If you are in the center of the market, and they started shouting that someone has stolen saltpeter, what's the center?
Yeah.
And then only you have started running away. Everybody will know who has stolen the saltpeter. If the electoral commissioner and the electoral commission has nothing to hide, why were they running away from being scrutinized?
They were shielded by the law. It was an option they could take, and they took it.
I'm saying that they could have insisted that they wanted to, so that to bring to clarity and certainty whether the elections we had was actually transparent or not. But you see, that is not the issue. The promoters of this motion haven't said anywhere that they are challenging the declared results in the 2020 election. They haven't said anywhere like that. So I don't know why
there's been talk about impacting electoral reform and electoral process going into the next election.
They haven't said anywhere that the objective, overarching objective of this motion is to challenge the declared results of the 2020.
But while that tacitly
let me finish.
But you have said, you just said that you still feel the election was rigged. So
you asked
behind there, like others from the majority have said, then it is bad faith you guys are coming with.
You are now behaving like MPP. You ask,
I'm behaving like MPP. How?
They're not straight. They
How?
go here, they go here. You have asked a specific question. You asked me about the declared results, and I gave you my position.
Okay.
But I'm saying that in the matter of this motion that is being promoted by 5 of our colleagues, they haven't said anywhere, and I listened to my brother comrade Kofi Adams on your station.
Right.
You guys should be awarding me. I listen to your station all the time, even though I disagree.
That's why you're so well informed.
So I'm saying,
you listen to us, so we give you accurate information.
I'm saying that they haven't said anywhere that this motion is being promoted for the purposes of determining whether the elections declared in the 2020 was the right declared
Points made.
That's not what
Points made.
They are simple accent.
It's just the rhetoric of some of you. That's why I had to go there.
For accountability. It doesn't matter what the Supreme Court says. I listened to my senior colleague, Honorable Atachian, who was talking about it's an affront to blah, blah. The Parliament is an independent state institution. It's one of the most important, if not the most important arm of government.
But speaking of this accountability, you've had a review of the electoral process. You're aware of that?
Yes.
Your party decided not to partake in some of those activities. Then you came out with your own book, so to speak.
Do you know why?
No, let me just sort of, looking at the process generally. And the Electoral Commission also said, okay,
Ben,
we are taking a look at it. But
with all apologies to our viewing public this morning, perhaps some will be taking their breakfast. But proverbs are proverbs. That you cannot sleep with an itching anus and do not expect to wake up with smelling fingers. The reason why we have the challenges we have today is because of the conduct of the Electoral Commission. Isn't it of tremendous interest to you that when the Electoral Commissioner herself vaunted that she saved this nation a lot of millions of Ghana cedis, if not dollars, against the previous electoral commissioners and electoral commissions, you think that we should just allow her to make that statement without we ascertaining what magic wand did she have such that she could save this country millions of Ghana cedis or dollars? 2, the same electoral commissioner is being accused for violating procurement laws. We are talking about laws that determine how public funds are managed in terms of award of contract. Now, if you haven't stolen saltpeter, why are you running away? Wouldn't it be in the interest of the Electoral Commission and the people of this country, including you, the media, that the Electoral Commission absolve itself from this allegation of, violating the procurement laws? Isn't that of interest to you? I thought that multimedia, you should even be urging the NDC members of Parliament on so that we can ensure that the Electoral Commission...
We wouldn't jump into the fray like
jump
that
what?
and go to one side.
You are not going to
you bring up the issues and we deliberate.
You are not going to
them,
one side.
You expect us to come in.
You are not going to one side. I am talking about respecting the procurement laws. You have had series of news and serialization of how procurement laws have been violated. When Charlotte Osei issue came, were you guys not talking about it? One of the reasons why Charlotte was removed was because she allegedly violated procurement laws. Now, if there is another one who is accused for violating procurement processes, why are you not interested this time around? Perhaps what is good for the goods is not good for the gander in multimedia. If indeed what is good perhaps, I'm saying perhaps. I am saying that perhaps.
Yes, but
I'm just using.
But while you say perhaps, I must also state categorically that is not the case.
Now, if you tell me,
all of these stories,
if you tell me
this platform will give you the best side of it.
You are not. In this case, you are telling me.
We never turn a blind eye to it.
In this case, you are telling me that you won't jump into supporting one side. We are not saying that we have our own editorial policy.
Editorial policy. Do what has to be done. It doesn't mean that we must come and push the minority to do anything.
I'm saying, should I just on? What is significant to be done is that your interest in protecting our laws, in ensuring that the procurement processes are respected. And that is where I am inviting you. And I'm urging multimedia on, please, for what you have been doing, don't let it be a 9-day wonder. I want you to support this motion that is being moved so that the Electoral Commissioner will be able to tell us whether indeed they violated the procurement processes or not. People have been prosecuted. I had a discussion with you about the Auditor General's report when we went around the country. Over 50 institutions have been referred to the Ministry of Justice and Attorney General for prosecution simply because they violated procurement processes. Nobody should be above laws. Another thing that is very important is that we people have challenges. It doesn't matter what the Supreme Court says in the matter of the election results. Parliament is an independent body, and Parliament can demand through the people's representation.
You don't have oversight over the Electoral Commission.
Why?
You don't have oversight over
the people of this country have oversight over the Electoral Commission.
Yes, but you, as members of Parliament, do you have any direct oversight over the Electoral Commission?
We are the representatives of the people. So the people of this country have oversight responsibility of the Electoral Commission. In fact, even the president. The reason why we just discussed the illegal removal of money for the purposes of satisfying the uncontrollable pledge a president made with his creator is because the president is not above the laws. The Electoral Commission is not above the law.
So just to conclude, let me bring in Colin. What is the end game in 10 seconds? What is the end game of
sanitize the system, strengthen our democratic processes, and ensure that the procurement laws of this country are respected, and also to make a very strong case that no one is above the law, not even the Electoral Commission. Nobody, including the president.
The majority, I've heard some of your majority members say that this is like flogging a dead horse. 2020 is past. This is dead on arrival. It's not going anywhere. It's just people being mischievous, like all kinds of. What do you think?
It is dead on arrival.
Wow.
Yamutu.
Okay.
You don't win election with big English. You don't win election with adages and proverbs.
No, I don't want that.
Oh, please. When you were speaking,
and the people of this
I kept quiet. Please control him for me. You don't win election with big English. And that's when there's a shout of a thief in the marketplace, that's not what wins election. What wins election is when you train your polling agent to be mathematically inclined.
And send military men.
Please, Mutala, you spoke. I was seated here.
Thank you.
What wins election?
So are you suggesting implicitly that they were sloppy and your party took advantage of their sloppiness? No, is that what you're saying?
Till date, they have not even been able to tell us on their own the votes that they got. They went to the Supreme Court.
I remember Johnson
now you are bringing a motion for us to investigate Tom Prince.
The figures, you were giving us the same figures.
What Tom Prince?
But we didn't go to the Supreme Court.
When we were investing in technology.
I get it.
When we were investing in technology.
Help him.
Oh, please. When we were investing in technology and getting our results within 8 hours after the election, we saw His Excellency John Dramani Mahama on some NASCO something. What are you talking about? Big English do not win elections. You cannot overturn election by coming to parliament with a motion and calling for us to investigate why there was a thumb-printed ballot. What thumb-printed ballot? What is he talking about?
Is that what we did?
You got an opportunity.
Are you guys investing in the technology?
No, let me finish. Let me finish. Please, let me finish. And you spoke. Let me finish. Let me finish. The Constitution is clear. When there's a dispute in an election, go to the Supreme Court. You took the right channel. When they were having press conferences that they had won the election and declaring His Excellency John Mahama as the president, which results were they rely on? When they were declaring themselves at a press conference and saying they had won the election, when Otokuna was singing that they had won, Sami Jenfi was referring to the president, His Excellency, as the next president of Ghana. Which results were they relying on? Which results? Now you go to the appropriate forum, which is the court, Supreme Court. There is no fiction, it's facts.
Oh, really?
You are given an opportunity to defend. You could not even provide one evidence.
So let me ask you.
Now you come back to parliament that
do you concur, Murtala, hold on. Do you concur that, with him, of course, that parliament does have some oversight over the Electoral Commission? And so, depending on what actions are taken by the Electoral Commissioner and her team, Parliament can get them. Hold on. Parliament can get them to answer questions.
The Electoral Commission is an independent body, but I know that their budget and all that comes through Parliament. But it's an independent body. We all know that it is an independent body.
The reason I pose this question is: Does Parliament have any business engaging in this?
No, we don't have any problem.
Is it lawful?
Oh yes, they can file as motions. You can file as many motions as you want. But I'm telling you, it is dead on arrival. Now read your topic, the second one. The one you gave me, read it. No, read it. Wait. Which one? Wait, my brother. You spoke. Let me speak. No, let me read let me read. Minority in Parliament is pushing for a special bipartisan committee to review the 2020 elections, particularly allegation of pre-thumb printed ballot paper. We are now going to investigate pre-thumb printed ballot paper in 2022. When you lost by almost 500,000 votes.
But the matter, the matter, if they feel the matter, hold on, Collins. If they feel the matter has still not been addressed, and the point must be made that they are simply saying ahead of 2024.
Yes.
We don't want certain things to be repeated. Is that not just?
What should not be repeated is that they shouldn't bring people who are not mathematically inclined to the polling station. They should train their polling agents, get the results. They should invest in technology, as we did. That is why.
Hold on.
That is why.
I will allow you to.
In my constituency, immediately the election was done by 5 o'clock. By 8, I knew I had won the election because we are putting mechanisms to get the results to the center. You guys were sleeping.
I want to assume you are putting in similar, if not better mechanisms.
We are even doubling it.
Hey,
we are getting ready for 2024. You'll be here and be doing motion and say you are going to investigate
He said by 8:30. By 7:30, I knew I had won.
Okay, if you knew.
Let me finish.
But by me, by 11 o'clock,
can I finish?
we knew.
Must you do this?
Can I finish? Can I finish?
Ben,
let me
finish. I'm saying by no, you are not giving you the chance. You are not giving you the chance. By 11, we knew Nana Akufo-Addo had won the election by
okay. So let me just ask you
this issue about
the minority
no, it's important. He says that the Electoral Commissioner should have been compelled to mount the witness.
Did I say that? You are not even listening.
Oh, what did you say?
What did you eat this morning?
I didn't eat anything.
Oh, that's the reason. That explains why.
Stop that.
No, I have
let me quickly do this. I'll give you a minute.
Is it by force for the Electoral Commission?
Because you've had your extensive
for the Electoral Commission to mount them?
It's not by force.
It's not by force.
And she took the option.
Absolutely.
Have I said that?
Speak to your lawyers.
No, he's just saying. He's
saying that I just said.
Point to be made though.
Hold on.
So no, hold on. In calling for this bipartisan, committee to look into this matter, it's been said that some of you, your membership, the majority in
the promoters of the motion
are also
what is this bipartisan? All of them are NDC.
Are you not aware of any such?
Which of our members is supporting this?
I'm not saying the names that we've seen so far, but they are saying that there are.
Look at the promoters of the motion.
Right.
All All of them are NDC.
No, I'm not disputing that. But they say that there are some of your membership, just as we saw in the election of the Speaker of Parliament. They say there are secret members who are,
Let me make it clear here. Members of the MPP, we are very clear in our mind that Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo won the election cleanly. And he is the commander-in-chief now.
1 minute. So we move on.
This issue about go and train your polling agents
to
get ready to tabulate. No room for mischief.
I agree.
Right. And don't come back to Parliament and be doing
top. Growing up, there was this fella. Zombie no go chop unless the master tell him to chop. You see, I just asked him here when we were looking at the LGBTQ thing. And I said, look into the camera and tell people your position. He says, no, I can't say it here.
I didn't say that.
No, but
I made my position clear.
I can
I've told you that I am not for gayism.
It's fine.
It's simple as that.
You made your point.
My position is clear. Culturally, religiously, I'm not for that.
First and foremost, have you heard of the story of if a gamma lizard, more paper? A student prepared to write biology. He prepared for a gamma lizard, read everything about a gamma lizard. He went into the exam. They didn't bring a gamma lizard, they brought crocodile. And because he prepared for a gamma lizard, the moment he saw the paper, he said, oh, if a gamma lizard, more paper. All the issues I have raised in answering the questions you asked me, he has failed to respond to a single one of them. I raised the issue of alleged procurement breaches. He didn't. I mean, for that one, he is not interested.
Is your motion about alleged
procurement breaches? They're all 9. They're about 9. I'm saying that I raised issue about the fact that the electoral processes are challenges and we all want to sanitize the system. But you see, I won't dwell on that. He's telling me that if the NDC wants to win elections, we should train our people. It's true, but there's one thing he didn't mention. He didn't also tell us that we should get armed military men and policemen to go to coalition centers to terrorize and gun down people. He didn't tell me that. What we are preparing for is that you will not do what you did in 2020. We will not allow you to use for the first time state institutions, people whose taxes, whose comfort are ensured by our taxes. They gunned down 8 people in this country. That is why we are going to.
What we did in 2020. No, but what you are saying is not right.
Now he said that
what we did in 2020 was to train our polling agents to be vigilant.
Hold on, he said that.
That's what we did.
He said that you don't win elections with big English.
Big English, yes.
I agree. You don't also win elections with funny English. When you try to slang,
he's there.
You try to slang to win.
He's there. He's the president now.
Have you listened to?
He's the president now.
Have you listened to Honorable Adjoa Safo?
He's the president now.
Have you listened to the recent?
She had an interaction right here.
My very good friend.
I followed everything.
She also started slanging. I won't be surprised by the time we finish this program, he also starts slanging. But you see, the people of the verdict of what you did, when you build a house with saliva, it is easily destroyed with hue. You won the elections through a default.
With default.
And that is the reason why.
That is why
the mess we are facing in this country.
That is why you went to court.
Hold on. The mess we are facing in this country is unabated. You have failed to respond to the position I made strongly that nothing bars Parliament from doing what we are doing. And I was expecting you.
But I've not said that.
I was expecting you as a young person.
Yes.
Who is in Parliament. I understand. But you see, I was expecting you to be supporting this kind of motions.
As to support this motion?
For me, it reassesses the independence of the legislature. For me, that's what it does.
All right, point
it reassesses the independence.
I will not support a motion that is calling on us to go back to 2020 election to investigate unprinted ballot. You had an opportunity in court.
Not only in court.
In court.
At the polling stations.
You had an opportunity in
at the
court
coalition
to
centers.
correct any mistake that you think happened.
By the way, by 7:30, I knew I had won the election.
You did not.
You were late. Even with your training, you got your results.
I'm sure these pictures will be painted ahead of 2024. But another crucial matter I want us to sneak in before we wrap the conversation. Public sector workers, public sector wages. And the government statistician, Professor Enim joined me on the show yesterday, and he stated categorically, I did not say that public sector workers are overpaid. He was merely saying that maybe, generally, in fact, averagely you're giving someone about 3,420. The person's work or output is maybe commensurable with about 1,420. So we may not be getting effectiveness, efficiency, value for money, the right output. But is that really the case? I want just a minute, like brutal, straight to the point commentary on this. He says I start with him all the time, so I'll start with you.
Well, I listen. But if you want me to start again, I will.
And you need to see me for some tree lessons. I need tree lessons.
Oh, tree,
yeah. Please go ahead.
I listened to the statistician. A very interesting conversation. Of course, this issue about public sector workers. This is not the first time discussions about whether indeed their work output.
People have been referencing what former President, His Excellency Kufuor said. Workers pretend to work. Government also pretends to
Edward Mama claimed that he was the original maker of that.
Oh, really?
Yes.
But
this one there is another.
But clearly, I think we all have to be frank. Sometimes you go to a private sector institution and you enter the office and you could see clearly, I mean, the kind of focus and attention that everybody is giving to work. And you go to certain ministries and you see people.
Example.
Oh, please.
Be courageous.
Oh, why is Mutala always?
I know he frequents the Minister of Finance. So be courageous.
Maybe is that the ministry you're referencing?
Maybe that explains the mess.
No. I mean, we all know sometimes you go, you realize that for me, what is important is employers should be setting targets, just as we do in the private sector. So do
you agree then when the statistician says, look, set up a committee like the Public Accounts Committee. Let's get into this and let's ensure that public sector workers are actually doing the right thing per the wages they
I'm not too sure if we need a new committee to do this. The employer, which is government, must set targets, just as happens in the private sector. He's a member of the Public Accounts Committee. He goes around and he sees that, the right word, I mean, there are issues with the behavior of certain people within the district. Let me take a district, a typical district.
It happens like Cocoa Board.
It happens all the time. I mean, this year they are in the report. The following year they are in the report. Why don't you set a target? Now the next time I see that you breach this particular rule, you face the sanction. Put certain measures in place to get them to work. That's what I mean. That's what's wrong.
Quick point, very quickly.
When we finish with the 2017 Auditor General's report, the chairman of the Public Accounts Committee, Honorable Aveji, made it very, very clear to MMDCs and other state institutions that in looking at the 2018 report, any procurement breaches will be referred to the Minister for Justice and Attorney General for prosecution. And true to his words, we referred over 50 state institutions to the Minister of Justice and the
made mention of that
for prosecution. But the question, my challenge about this proposition is that how are the standards going to be set? Who determines how the standard are set? Running a government, and in this case, ministries and agencies, are not necessarily profit-making, agencies. There are some that the state expands money, for example, just for the purposes of providing social services to people. How would you set the standard? How do you determine that? But you see, if you want to set standard, and I urge the fiscal service, President Nanado wouldn't be in office. Because for him, he will get like 10%. The Minister for Finance will get like 3%. Most of these ministers won't be in office. So if you set that particular standard, the entire government will go. Maybe perhaps my good friend and others who demonstrate some little fairness in being sincere on issues would have to take charge.
All right, so
in as much as it's a good call, in as much as it's a good call, the challenge is how are those standards going to be set? And until we come out with how we can set up such standards, I think that will help. But what is important is the laws we already have, the ability of the laws to bite. There are sanctions governing how people should conduct themselves, particularly public office holders.
So that should bite.
Unfortunately, if we do that, I don't think that will
I don't want to, because I did promise that I would get back to this. We're not going to discuss the LGBTQI bit.
Why are we
today.
not going to
not today.
The embassies have threatened you people.
But, oh, no.
So let's discuss.
Have you looked at the time?
No.
Have you looked at it? But he made mention of something, which is why I just want your quick thought on that. You said that you were, and I noted it down, you are for, basically, by and large, your example about your analogy of being married and children and all that.
Everybody's
but
married.
You said there are aspects,
very, very beautiful.
There are aspects of the bill, Collins, pay no mind to.
No, I'm just informed that my wife is very.
You said there were aspects of the bill you didn't like. Can you name one or two of them?
Not today. Not today. Not today.
You see?
Not today.
You see?
Not today.
There are aspects of the bill you are not comfortable with, but you are not willing to talk about them.
Yes, I prefer to make that on the floor of Parliament when the report is presented to the plenary. I'll call for an amendment of certain
things. It's a reminiscence of what the president said.
I don't get this.
When Sheikh Asali interviewed him on Free SHS, and he said that the cause, I will tell the people of this country. That explains why we have the challenges we have. Why can't you tell the people of this country whether you are for the bill or not?
I say
privately, he is for the bill, but publicly, the Flagstaff House.
We'll stick to what we hear from him.
Okay, so tell us.
And that's exactly why I'm saying we'll stick to what we hear from him. You cannot speak for him. You are not his
mouthpiece. That's not a fair comment to make that Flagstaff House is pushing me.
So what is the reason?
No. You can't.
Okay, so tell us.
I'm telling you.
Ask me the same question. Let me answer. Ask me the same question. Let me answer.
No, but
I think your opinion is clear. Your opinion is
clear. For you to say that the Flagstaff House is putting me in line to say...
I know him to be a very good Christian. No, I know. And I know him that he respects the teachings of the Bible. The Bible
to wrap the entire conversation, Mutala, where you are going, we will not finish with this conversation today. To wrap the entire conversation, 30 seconds and 30 seconds each, please. Mutala, please.
Then you start.
Dr. Afede returned almost 400,000, the ex-gratia. How do you feel about that?
You should tell us.
No, you people, you also take ex-gratia. No, but I just had to. Article 71 for no. So he returned. So his ex-gratia as a Council of State chair, right?
He voluntarily returned.
I respect Togbe. I mean, I think there are very few.
Some say the others should do same. Do you agree?
I respect Togbe, and I think there are very few Ghanaians who have risen through the business. I mean, a very astute businessman. I'm begging him. He shouldn't veer into this area.
Why?
And expose himself to a lot of discussions and
why?
The rhetoric on social media has been very positive.
He says in his letter that it took him close to about a year to realize that an amount of 360-something thousand Ghana cedi has hit his account.
The man has that.
I'm coming. He says it is illegal. 360-something thousand Ghana cedi stays in your account for a year. Why didn't he return the interest that accrued on the illegal money?
Okay.
He says the money paid into his account is illegal. For a whole year, the money was in his account. When he was returning the money, why didn't he return the illegal?
He didn't say it was illegal, so to speak.
He never said it.
He never said it was illegal. He was merely saying that.
He says...
No. Let me give... I don't have the full statement. I don't want to go through it. But he's saying that I got a salary. You know, I was paid something as a member of the Council of State monthly. And how many times do we really sit and all of that?
He said the job is part-time.
And at the end, I realized that this whopping sum had been paid into my account. And I don't feel, having got a salary for what I was doing,
he says,
I don't feel right in my conscience to get this lump sum of money
the job of
at the end of my
job of
my
a
term.
Council of State member, he says part-time. Why was he receiving full salary for part-time job?
Maybe we should be asking the system, and we should be asking you why people then are getting full-time pay for part-time work.
He was giving some loan, just as we all take, car loan at that time. Do you take $80,000 car loan for a part-time job?
Ben, I'm not privy much to this story, but I just want to commend Togbe Afede for that outstanding, leadership. Some chiefs were given state money to celebrate their festivals in this country under this government. Our money, our taxpayers' money. The state dipped its hands and gave it to some people. Now, assuming without admitting that he said it was illegal, we can question the rationale and the reasons.
He didn't even say that.
Assuming without...
And I've clarified that already, but
yeah,
since there's even a release from the...
this is in response
This is a response to
what
Paul Adon did. And point 4 states categorically that Togbe did not say, and Togbe here, Togbe Afede, did not say the ex-gratia payments were illegal. And that is clear.
That has been settled. You see, it's the mouth that lies. The heart knows the truth. And my brother doesn't seem to be taking solace in Malcolm X's statement. You see?
All right.
No, yes. You see, Ben, let me make this point.
It's time to go.
We all must sacrifice at any point in time. Look, I have made some sacrifices for the state. As a deputy minister of state,
it's a choice.
I was entitled.
It's a choice.
Yes, I'm saying that as a deputy minister of state, I was entitled to have an official driver. I chose not to. I didn't ask the state to give me that money because I didn't have a driver. I urge them to do so. Unfortunately, they have appetite for chop.
All right. We have a lot more coming your way this morning. We'll be, coming your way with that discourse as well, Samuel Kojo Brace. And we'll also be letting you have your say. But, gentlemen, a very big thank you to you for joining the conversation.
Thank you for having us.
For coming. Collins Adomako, a member of Parliament, Ifija Kwabre North constituency.
One of the few. But he should see me for lessons so that he would get his results.
But I thank him for the kind words. I thank him.
No. I mean, he's
also a very good brother. Yes. Of course, very diabolic. Of course. Everybody knows that.
Murtala Mohammed. Oh, you don't take exception to the diabolism. Murtala Mohammed, member of Parliament, Tamale Central. Well, that is how we wrap this conversation. We'll be back, like I said, with that interview and more discourse right here on the AM show. Do stay.
Ladies and gentlemen, we will eliminate import duties on sanitary pads to improve health conditions, particularly for girls. It's very important, but what we want to really do is to make sure we produce the sanitary pads in Ghana.
That was Vice President Dr. Mahamadou Bawumia on 22nd August 2020, making a firm promise that his party will eliminate import tariffs on sanitary pads if re-elected into power. The New Patriotic Party won the 2020 election, but the government is yet to fulfill its promise. Sanitary pads are subjected to a 20% import tax and a 12.5% value-added tax, making the product expensive for many women. Taxes aren't the only factor driving up the prices of sanitary pads. According to dealers, the high cost of fuel is also to blame.
First, now le 5 cedis, 50 pesos, so le 7 cedis. She be at 9 cedis, or le 10 cedis. Ne, we be at na mengo na make petrol da na ngono. We no affect on the.
When it's that time of the month, Hagar, a resident of Choko, gets anxious because of menstrual cramps. But the rising price of sanitary pads is also giving her heart palpitations.
If we are entering new month, I become worried because the sanitary pad first, we used to buy it 5 cedis. But now some are selling it 8 cedis and some are selling it 10 cedis.
She is sometimes forced to use unhygienic materials, which can have serious reproductive health consequences.
The money that I was holding at that time is 5 cedis. And it's come by the sanitary pad, so I need to buy zero.
The rising cost of sanitary pads has forced many women to use baby diapers. Diapers are preferred over sanitary pads because they absorb more fluid and require fewer changes. Again, they are cheaper. Ayele explains how the baby diaper is used as a sanitary pad.
Inchio bia no we fiat me fiat spirit ka gbe nkagme papa se an ke ki 1 cd e wa mi an ke agba ke dan ma se ma cha ke ko shi pa de ne ke ga we de fe shi ete fe ni mi cha ke o bia de papa se bon ke ya.
She's not the only one who menstruates in diapers. According to Jamila Mohammed, many women in Choko do the same. She does, however, add that when she does not have enough money for diapers, she uses toilet paper.
And you use pampers get zero. Can you my pampers and use so zero? Zero Rebecca in your hair, come on, use half my failure. My use 2 times. Hello, if we me tick or by your useless 2 days, hello 3 days.
She gives a breakdown of why the rising cost of sanitary pads is economically squeezing many residents of Choko.
Baba feko kuba futu me enyo 5 cedi e ko onye 6 cedi alo 7 cedi o ayo enyo 5 cedi no manage ole naka no manage all na ka bia ne no poenyo 5 cedi bia na ko 4 cedi e o ba bula ga ko a he je epepa ni o ko a enu e ba gbo no epepa bia na 8 cedi no 8 cedi e bia ne ko nyo 8 cedi e besani o ya back no akota ko e alo ato ti roko no manage na ka no cafe.
Activists have been calling on government to keep its promise of eliminating sanitary pads taxes. Social media has been flooded with posts explaining why the government should not tax women's periods. Esinam is one of the activists campaigning for the government to keep its promise of eliminating pad taxes. She tells stories about young girls who can't afford sanitary pads and have to resort to sex to pay for them.
We have seen in the news, we have heard stories, and they are real. It's not like someone is making them up, where girls are exchanging sexual activities just to be able to purchase sanitary pads. The prices it's just outrageous, you know, and it keeps increasing every day. It's becoming expensive to menstruate.
She makes a case for why the situation should be tackled with emergency.
In December, we bought a box of soft care pad, a box with 24 pieces at 95 cedis. You may want to do the division. Just last week, this same box was costing 165 cedis on the market. So you want to divide that by 24 and see the difference over the period. It's just outrageous, over 50% hike or increment.
Hagar, Jamila, and Ayele are pleading with government to pay attention to their cries.
His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Ekufu, we beg of him, he should reduce the prices of things.
Sister me wa wompi woblo wa wiemo ya hie ko wa ka abapo na ka wie pomis money wo ito makala ka bia ne benini bi jale wa iwo ekwa na che no fia na ka wateme ko wa benu chumo kwakwa ko no wachu.
This is a reminder to the government to listen to the cries of women and act swiftly. Ifwa Aprikwa Boafo's report, JoyNews.
Hungry man say, fix the country. Melefu say, fix yourself.
Really disturbing facts emerging from that particular story. But this is our JoyNews tracker story, and it follows from government's promise to scrap taxes of feminine hygiene products or menstruation pads. This is not a promise, or if it had been implemented, let me put it that way, it wouldn't be exclusive to Ghana. There are so many countries that have scrapped taxes on menstrual products. And since about 2004, we have the likes of Australia, Germany, Canada, India, and in Africa, Kenya and Rwanda do not impose taxes on menstrual hygiene products. And so the question is, why can't we do this in Ghana? Well, I've been joined by Awal Ahmed Kariama. He's Executive Director, Rural Initiatives for Self-Empowerment Ghana. It's RISE. And he's been working in this particular area for some time, and so he'll be sharing his experience with us. Thank you for your time this morning, sir. We just heard from one of the ladies in that story say that there were girls who were exchanging sex so that they could get money to buy sanitary pads. What's your experience? What are some of the stories you've heard? Hello? Mr. Kariama, you have to unmute your device so we hear what you're saying.
Thank you very much for the opportunity to speak on this important subject matter. And I want to say good morning to your viewers and those of us who are listening to you online. It's unfortunate that transactional sex is a common occurrence in some parts of Ghana, and it's unfortunate that, like your interviewee indicated, that some people have to exchange sex in order to afford sanitary pads. And that is why we are calling the tax an illegal and an immoral tax. because when you talk about menstruation, it's a natural occurrence.
Hello?
Women and girls. No circumstance should anybody, under no circumstance should any woman be forced to undergo period poverty or menstrual poverty as a result of the fact that there are high taxes on sanitary pads. So it's unacceptable, and it's a common practice in some of the places.
So apart from transactional sex, what do some of the girls do in order to, help themselves during the time of the month?
Yes, so girls unfortunately do a lot of things to be able to manage their menses.
Hello? We seem to be having a challenge with Mr. Kariama's line there. He's joining us via Zoom, and he's been working in a lot of rural areas when it comes to the issue of young girls and period poverty. Mr. Kariama, if you can hear me, you were answering the question about what young girls have to do apart from transactional sex in order to just help themselves during the time of the month.
Yes, so apart from the fact that, who is this?
Hello?
Hello, madam.
Yes, please, we can hear you.
Yes, so I'm saying that apart from the transactional sex issue that we have raised, girls also undertake some good measures. Some of them use sanitary pads that are not healthy. That ideally, we know that there are reusable sanitary pads, but there are some that are actually not reusable because of the safety and the fact that they are not hygienic. But because of the high cost of sanitary pads and the lack of access to it, so in essence, period poverty, people are resorting to crude means. They are using rags and others that can lead to infections to be able to manage their menses, which is seriously unfortunate. Aside that, we have found instances where some girls just drop out of school. They are not able to go to school or engage in any productive work just because they are menstruating, and they do not have their arts and other things to be able to keep them, stop the flow from coming, and for them to go about their daily businesses. So if you look at the data that is available, majority of girls, we are talking about the fact that the school is one of the safest places for our girls when they are adolescents, when they are growing. But when they are menstruating, they are not able to go to school because the school is not safe. And so by not going to school, it exposes them to further forms of risk. And as they are not in school, because the school is safer for them. So they do other things. They get out of the school. They stay at home just to manage their menses. They cannot do any work because they don't have access to sanitary pads. So access is a big problem. So for government to tax it again is uncalled for. It's unacceptable.
In that story we played before we started the conversation, we heard the Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, speak about the scrapping taxes on female hygiene products such as pads. We haven't seen that promise fulfilled, and as someone who works in the sector, unfortunately, we have not been able to get a response from the Gender Ministry. But in your engagement with persons responsible for ensuring that this promise is fulfilled, have you received any communication as to why we still haven't seen the taxes scrapped?
So I think we have engaged a lot of duty bearers around this, and the advocacy is happening at different levels. Unfortunately, the problem has to do with the lack of political will, and even I think that we don't really understand the dynamics of these things and what it actually means. We unfortunately have to see menstruation in a different perspective. Over the years, when we talk about menstruation, we are mostly engaging about the fact that it's about women, but it's not only about women. Okay, so we need to understand that men are also directly affected. And in fact, for me, when I always tell people that when I hear the word menstruation, what I hear is hope, because menstruation is a hope that there is going to continue procreation. Menstruation is a hope that we are going to have a very solid source of human resource going forward. So we need to see it in that perspective. But unfortunately, over the years, what we are lacking is a political will and an understanding of what the dynamics and the challenges these women are facing. Okay, so for us, I think that the political will has to happen, and we need to continue to engage our political elite, especially the Ministry of Finance and Economic Planning and other policy holders. It's encouraging to hear the Vice President say that we're going to scrap, but most of the things we do in Ghana and politicians say we don't have deadlines assigned to them. So we need to urge the Vice President and the Ministry of Finance and all those who matter in policy circles to walk the talk and set up firm deadlines to ensure that indeed the taxes are scrapped. We are talking about 32% of the tax on this, because apart from the 20% tax, luxury tax, they also pay VAT on it, which is unacceptable. So the average person cannot afford the sanitary pad, which in essence is unfair.
While we wait for government to fulfill this particular promise, there are organizations like yours that are stepping up, helping young girls, especially in rural Ghana, manage the time of the month. There are those who have created environmentally friendly sanitary towels, which are reusable. And there are those who are also providing sanitary towels to young girls free of charge. Tell us what work you have been doing in this particular regard.
So for us, what we have been doing is we basically working around the issue of the advocacy component, where we are mobilizing men and boys. You see, beyond access to sanitary pads, there's something we call period poverty and period shaming. And we have had instances where girls have contemplated committing suicide just because they were mocked before because they are menstruating. So we are working a lot with men and boys to let them better understand and support women who are menstruating to stop period shaming. So we have trained a lot of adolescent boys and girls and men and boys as well as parents in the rural communities so that they are better able to explain to other community members to understand girls who are menstruating. Some of the schools, they mock the girls, and the girls, we have had stories in other countries as well as in Ghana where girls have contemplated and some have actually committed suicide because they were menstruating and they were made fun of. So we are doing a lot of advocacy to get men and boys to better understand and stop period shaming. We are also working with adolescent girls and groups to promote the use of reusable sanitary pads through training, so that we are training a crop of them to be able to make their own sanitary pads, reuse them, and how to manage and treat them without causing infections. And then at the policy level, we continue the advocacy for the scrapping of this tax, the nuisance tax on sanitary pads, so that more people can have access to them. We've also had arrangements in some of the communities where we have a project we call Pads for Grades, where we want to ensure that girls who are doing well in school will use access to contraceptives as well as sanitary pads and others as a motivation to keep more girls in school. So on the World Menstrual Hygiene Day, through our program, we shared a lot of sanitary pads to girls. We also created a lot of awareness to break the barrier in terms of the period shame. We also have a group of volunteers called Digital Literacy Agents that we are being funded by Grameen and the U.S. Department of State, where they are providing access and information to women about their bodies and sexuality, as well as campaigning against issues of menstrual poverty at the community level. So those are the actions that we are taking at our level, beyond policy advocacy and community mobilization, to address the issue.
Finally, Mr. Karyama, when this government took over, there were promises made to scrap some taxes, and we saw that happening. A long list of them, about 12 taxes were scrapped. This promise has been in the waiting. We are yet to see it fulfilled. But based on how fast government acted when it had to scrap taxes, and with this particular one, the delay we are seeing, are you convinced that government is really committed to scrapping the taxes on feminine hygiene products?
Well, so far, based on the data and the delays, and if you compare the alacrity and the speed with which other taxes has been scrapped, then we will say that, like I emphasized earlier, we don't see a lot of political will in this regard. And it's unfortunate that things are dragging like this. And so this is a wake-up call for all the women's rights organizations, all the reproductive health advocates in the country and beyond. And that's why I'm excited that the JoyNews and Multimedia is giving the space for us to be able to discuss this. I think that we need to go to be able to engage our politicians to push them in terms of providing us clear timelines in terms of how they will roll out some of these policy proposals that they have. Indeed, it's long overdue, and the girls cannot wait. Many more girls are getting infected. Many girls are suffering period poverty. Many girls are being shamed because they cannot access this. And so it's unfortunate that it is dragging like this. We cannot afford to continue to have 32.5% taxes on sanitary pads. It's unacceptable. It's not done in anywhere in the world. And so we need to, government must make good its application and immediately.
Thank you so much. Awal Ahmed Kariama is Executive Director for RISE Ghana. We've been talking about government's promise to scrap taxes of feminine hygiene products and the fact that we've not seen it and the impact this is having on many women in the country, also considering the high cost in goods and services. You're watching the AM show with me, Bernice. Benjamin brought you a conversation earlier. Coming up shortly, we'll be talking to the Ghana Meteorological Agency, and they have a couple of demands. They want the payment of 80 million cedis in debt owed by the Ghana Civil Aviation Authority and the Ghana Airports Company Limited. Director General Eric Isuman says the delay in paying the debt is affecting their operations. He's been speaking to Samuel Kojo-Brace.
All right, so good morning and welcome to the AM show. Recently, the Ghana Meteorological Agency has been doing relatively well in terms of helping us understand how our weather is going to be on a daily basis. So we need to appreciate them and also ask them that we demand more in terms of whatever they deliver to us. And in the operations, are there other issues that we need to understand, other challenges, and how these challenges can be surmounted so that they become the excellent agency that we all pray they become? So we are here today with the Director General of the Ghana Meteorological Agency, Mr. Eric Isuman, to understand how the issues are. So Mr. Eric Isuman is here with us today. We are grateful to have him and for him to agree to speak to us. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
And congrats too.
Thank you for acknowledging the efforts that we are making.
In terms of the scheme of things, where do you see Meteo now in terms of how you are able to give us an update on our weather?
As you actually said, Ghana Meteorological Agency is doing well these days. In fact, all the feedback we get these days are positive. We are delivering the forecasts and the warnings, and they are coming as we deliver them. So we are trying our best given the circumstances that we find ourselves.
Okay. Some time ago we didn't believe Meteo and the things they gave us. What has changed that now you seem to be getting the information accurately in terms of the weather changes?
Well, GMET is evolving. It's evolving. We used to use a manual way of, collecting our data and analyzing our data and coming out with a forecast. Now we are automating gradually, and so we still have manual system, but blend with automatic system, and we are getting a lot more meteorologists in the system. It used to be physicists and mathematics students who come and they are trained in meteorology. Fortunately, now we have our KNUST and UCC producing fresh meteorologists, for us. So in terms of human resource, there's an improvement. In terms of technology and equipment, there's improvement. But there's a lot more that needs to be done to get us to the level that we really want to do, get. But at least you can see the trajectory, that there's improvement, and that gives us the hope that with little effort and support, GMET will be the institution of choice that Ghanaians will like to have and depend on for their weather information, for planning of their lives and activities, and to save life and property.
So if I'm home, I'm thinking, how do these people do their work? How do you do it?
That's a very complex system. In fact, we start by collecting data, weather parameters, and we have about 22 synoptic stations across the country, and these stations collect all the weather parameters that is required for you to be able to come up with a forecast. So we talk about the temperatures, the relative humidity, we talk about the wind and wind direction, wind speed, and we collect all these data across the country with staff who man these stations 24/7, and so these stations are now being automated in a way. They bring this data to the center, as in headquarters and our office in Kotoka International Airport, and we have a central analysis forecast office where we have the meteorologist. At this point, these meteorologists receive this data and then analyze this data. In fact, this data is key into the global telecommunication system, which scientists use this data among data from various parts of the world to run models and give us the results of these models that can scale down on a regional and then on a country basis. So you get these models, products, analyze them with your ground data information, with satellite images, and then be able to come out with a forecast. And so that's the process that it goes through. And so the data you are collecting is critical. If you don't collect appropriate and correct data, it will affect the results. The logistics you need to be able to process this data is critical in technology and equipment, critical. And then the human side of it, the meteorologists with the skills needed to analyze this data and be able to then churn out the forecast. It's very critical for our operation.
So the modeling is not done in Ghana?
Also, there are global modeling and ones that we are trying to do here. In fact, we have an office, NWP, numerical weather modeling unit, and we started trying to downscale, so as I said, global to Africa and then to the country level. And the country level, we want to also run our own models with our own local data. And so we started. But we have problem with our servers and some few challenges, so that has gone down a little. But fortunately for us, just last week, we got a new server, which we are yet to install to run that models for us. And that will go to support what we get from global level. And that will make it more accurate than depending on the global one. Even though we will have the global one. So you take the global one, add our own ground data and information to run our own model to feed into our forecasting.
So for now, if you are giving us the weather update for tomorrow, it means it's you collected the data here, then you took it you put it in that global system, for the global system to give you the outcome, then you can interpret it to know what's going to happen here.
Not necessarily. So the global outputs will show you the way the system looks like. And so we have some places where we have high pressures and low pressures that you see from the global system. For the global system, you see the wind directions and the wind speed. So with that information, with your meteorologists, they analyze that information to see that, okay, if we have a high pressure in an area, it may not yield to rainfall, or low pressure is in this location. So you get this from the global products. Yes, then based on that, you do your own analysis with the conditions in the areas that you have identified from this global product that you are seeing, with some satellite images and some the wind direction, as I said, and then the clouds available that your staff has gotten that information for you to be able to then come to the point that this is likely to happen at this place or at this time.
So the ones that we pick, do we also have models for that, like local models where we don't need to rely on the foreign, the global system interpreting the data we have for us?
So we don't directly interpret the global models to our people.
Okay.
We process it. So it feeds into the analysis that we make.
You do.
It helps because we need to narrow the analysis to a certain parameters.
Okay.
And so it helps you to know that, well, there's high pressure here, there's low pressure here. And so if there's low pressure, what are the likelihood of rains? What are the prevailing condition in that low pressure area? And how is that going to, culminate into generating rainfall? You want to know the moisture level in the atmosphere around that area, the temperatures and the wind directions and the activities that are going around. So if even we get our full local model running, you'll still need a global information. We still need it, whether it's not limited to one country. Yes, it's global.
So you are told what's coming in from Togo.
So you normally hear there's a system moving from the eastern, propagating to the west. And so eastern, you are talking about Nigeria coming through Benin, Togo. You are monitoring it. You are looking at the wind speed and you are calculating that with this kind of speed, by this calculation, by this time, you should hit this locality. Yes, so we will still need that to help us do the analysis because it's global. One thing that have happened in another locality affects another locality. Yes. So.
In research and in predictions, we do have margins of error.
Sure.
When you are predicting, what's your margin of error?
So of late, if we see our forecast, now we call it impact-based forecasting, where we are not telling you what the weather is going to be, but what the weather is going to do. And so we say we give a probabilistic forecast. All right, so you see our forecast indicating 60% and above chance of occurrence of the prediction we have given, or between 40 and 60% chance of occurrence, or below 40% chance of occurrence. And so we give these predictions and give these probabilities for you to know that, well, if it's 60% and above, there's a high level chance, or sometimes we even give 80%, especially when it's warnings. We can say 90% chance of this system happening. And so it helps you to know that there are percentages of occurrence of the phenomenon that you are predicting. Again, it also tells you that there's some percentage of chance that it will not happen because this nature you are predicting, all right? And some factors we have taken into consideration to come to that determination. Things can change. And so sometimes people accuse us that, oh, we said it will rain and it didn't rain. If we give you 80% chance of occurrence, there's 20% chance of not occurring.
Not occurring.
It's possible it can fall within that 20% chance of not occurring. So by giving these statistics, probabilities, along with our forecast, Ghanaians will be able to understand that it's a forecast and that there's high probability of something happening, but there may be a very minute probability of the thing also not happening. Yeah.
So why aren't you able to give us 99% probability? Is there anything that is hindering you from giving us 99% accuracy in terms of your predictions?
Yeah, so a lot of factors account for this. It may be that the parameters that you are using to come out with the prediction, there may be a change in it and it can affect it, no matter how resourceful, how technologically resourced you are, the system can change. The only thing is that when things change, as a forecaster, you are supposed to update the public. That yes, per this condition, we expected this, but things has changed. And so we need a lot of equipment and logistics to be able to monitor and then be able to say that, well, we say this 90% or 60%, but for this condition or these changes, it's not going to happen. That's critical by updating our stakeholders. Again, as I said, you need logistics, a lot of logistics. There's one particular equipment called radar. As you are entering our gates, you look at the left-hand side, you see a big ball hang up there. It's called radar. It's a very critical equipment that we need for our work. Unfortunately, our radar has been down for some time now, and so it's not working. If you have about 4 of them in the country, by click of a button, you can have a fair view of the whole of Ghana atmosphere. All right. If you have that, any small system developing, a speck of a system developing in any part of the country, you can locate it on your PC and then start doing analysis of it and then be able to do the prediction. That's the system that we say moving from east to the west that we talk about. Those are there, but there are some that are locally generated, convective systems that are locally generated. It's not a movement of a system from east to west, but can develop maybe in Adenta alone, and it can rain there. That one is difficult for your normal analysis to be able to determine. If you have this radar, it can help you to be able to locate those specific things to be able to analyze and then make prediction on that. It's very expensive equipment, and you need a lot of resources to get it and then to make it run and maintain them.
Okay. So if we have only 4,
yes, you will see the whole country.
So why can't we get it?
Yeah, so it comes to logistics and cash flow. Seriously, cash flow. Ghana Meteorological Agency have a lot of potential to generate a lot of revenue for its operation. Okay. In fact, just last Friday, I was at a budget hearing at the Ministry of Finance, and I told them that, well, if things are done in its right way, if people are respecting the laws that the nation has given to Ghana Meteorological Agency, to provide sustainable source of funding for the agency, I would have come to finance and told them that we have come of age. You know, leave us alone. We don't need government subvention anymore. We can run ourselves. In fact, the director budget said how happy I would have been to hear from you that now you are okay, you can run yourself. But it calls on all of us to work together to ensure that people comply with laws that will provide the necessary resources for agency to be able to provide these logistics and be able to even be on its own and will not complain about cash flow problem anymore.
I'm curious, what does the law say? That you can raise money on your own?
Sure. In fact, Ghana Meteorological Agency provide, for the service we provide, over 60% is consumed by aviation. Okay. The World Meteorological Organization and International Civil Aviation Authority, ICAO, came into some arrangements where meteorological institutions will provide meteorological aeronautical services for air navigation and operations of airlines. And in this agreement, aviations are supposed to pay for the service that meteorological institutions provide. You agree with me that the enemy of an aircraft or a pilot is the weather. When you are airborne and there's a storm and you are in a plane and the plane is shaking, sometimes, you know, the people who are even serving will have to be asked to stop because the plane will be shaking. Every people will be calling for their goals, you see. So weather is very critical to the navigation of an aeroplane. And so we provide this service to aviation, and they're supposed to pay for the cost in generating that service. We were having a MOU, Memorandum of Understanding with aviation, to cede a portion of the money that they charge for providing the service to the airlines to Ghana Meteorological Agency. In fact, this was not being respected because maybe MOU is not binding and things like that. But somewhere in 2018, led by our Minister for Communication and Digitization, Madam Mosla Usu-Akofu, we went to Cabinet to get legal backing to enable Ghana Meteorological Agency, you know, get what is due it from providing this service to the aviation. And cabinet, had favor on our part and issue a cabinet memo asking our minister to start the process to amend Ghana Meteorological Agency Act to make it legal, incorporating certain percentages that aviation must cede to Ghana Meteorological Agency. And that cabinet memo, the first paragraph says that Ghana Meteorological, this process is to provide, you're supposed to give Ghana Meteorological Agency a sustainable source of funding for their operations. So it goes beyond just cost sharing, but to provide sustainable source of funding. And what are the act says? So you went through the process to Parliament and had unanimous approval to give an act, amended act, saying that all landing charges, so all the planes that land in Ghana, so aviation charge them some fee. 10% of that landing fee should be given to Ghana Meteorological Agency. All the flights that flight over Ghana flight zone, so they will not even land, they flight over the country. They provide, civil aviation provides service to them and they charge them. 10% of that charge should be given to Ghana Meteorological Agency. And then when we buy tickets, you pay some tax, airport tax. All that tax that airport company collects, 5% of that should be given to Ghana Meteorological Agency. And this act was passed somewhere in 2019, July. And then in 27 September 2019, President assented to the bill and it became a law, an act. But as we speak,
when Parliament passed, it became an act of Parliament, and then the President assented to it.
Sure. So now it's a full-fledged law, which must be respected. Unfortunately, when it was passed, just in 2020, COVID came.
2019
it was passed. So January, February 2020, there was a COVID. And it affected the aviation industry a lot. And they use that as an excuse that, our revenues has gone down and that we are struggling to survive, and so it's difficult for us to, pay you your percentages. But that is untenable because it's a percentage of whatever you collect. So if you collect 1 cedi, you give me my 10%. If you collect 100 cedi, you give me my 10%. Collect 1 million, you give me my 10%. And so that couldn't have been an excuse. But as we speak, that act, that law is not being respected. And that is depriving the agency from getting the necessary resources to, operate fully the way it would have loved to do, and also defeating even the President's objective of amending our law to give Ghana Meteorological Agency the sustainable source of funding to run its operation. And for me, it's Ghana that spoke as laws are emanated from the executive. And then it goes to the people representative, that is the Parliament. And you have Parliament, which is the representative of the people of Ghana. So Ghana speaking through Parliament that do this. I believe it's behold on all of us to respect this and comply, so that the objective for going through all this process and getting Ghana Meteorological Agency Act amended, be achieved. And that is our major challenge. We believe when that thing is resolved, our cash problem is resolved, you'll be able to generate the necessary resources and then be able to fund our operations, and probably even, as I said, tell government that we have come of age. We don't need you to support us anymore. The effect of that is that, yes, we can get good equipment. Yes, we can get very quality staff attracted to the agency and retain them. What we see now is that we train them. It's a climate space now, climate change. They are hot cake. As soon as they finish their masters and finish their PhD, some other institutions are, poaching them with good offers. As long as we remain under government subvention and a single spine, it is difficult for us to retain those quality staff who are hot cake, have the market value so high, that people are chasing them. So they come and they go to the universities to lecture. They come and other institutions are taking them. So you train and you lose them. It's because you are not able to retain them by giving them a better condition of service beyond single spine.
Okay.
And we believe with these resources, you have the material logistics, material resources, and then human capital, be attractive to retain them and train more. And all will go to improve our service delivery.
Why is it difficult for them to do that? What have they been telling you?
A poor company will tell you that they took loan to build Terminal 3 and developing airports, and this loan has been guaranteed by the government, and they are using those receipts to service the loan. And so they give it to us to affect them servicing the loan. That's a poor company argument. For seriously speaking, civil aviation, I don't get the argument. The argument is that they are challenged, they don't have enough money, and there are difficulty. We all have difficulties. You all have difficulties. We are seriously constrained with this equipment I spoke about. Very expensive, and we need more. In fact, government's plan to retool GMET. This document sitting here is a project proposal to retool GMET. In fact, it was fan expression in the 2022 budget government priority project. If we get it done, it needs to be paid back. We'll get the investor who will invest in providing all the logistics we need and the training we need, but it needs to be paid back. Pay back with what? With our receivables, which is secured. We sell data, we create other revenues, but they are insignificant. And we can rely on that to go into any serious arrangement with any investor. This is what law has given to us, and this is secured and reliable. So if they comply, we can get investors who will invest into the agency to get all the things that we need, and then have a payment plan and pay back for those processes. If they don't respect the law, it will be difficult for us to get ourselves from the challenges that we find.
What are you doing to stay afloat, and how is that impacting your work?
Yes, so we need to go through deep to be able to do what we are doing.
Okay.
I told you about the radar issue, and then retaining the skill staff or set that we have brought in. So it all have some effect on our work, but you have to depend on GOG, and you know GOG is not easy to come by. There are a lot of demand on GOG. That's Government of Ghana funding. You are aware that recently the budget, prior to the budget review, the preparation towards it, we had to cut budget by 30%, right? Yes, so if we have the potential to generate, I believe that is the way to go.
Okay.
We are managing with the situation, as you yourself our test to the fact that in spite of the difficulty, our forecasts of late are accurate. In fact, I told you just taking delivery of a server, and just last week we took delivery of a number of computers, 20 high-spec computers and laptops. In fact, even the computers we use have to be very high-spec, because we are downloading satellite images and graphics and running models on them. Even though our modeling unit has gone down because of server, we are still running some on our computers and our laptops, even though with challenge. But these are the challenges we are going through. But we believe we will not rest on our horse. We will fight hard and keep on improving our service delivery, and that's what will catch the attention of policymakers to provide the necessary support and pressure for those who are owing us to pay our money so that we can do more.
So you want the civil aviation and those owing you you want the laws to deal with them, for them to pay you.
Right.
You want the state to deal with them, or what do you want?
Yes, they need to call them to order.
Okay.
They've given us a law for a purpose. We are having challenge in its implementation. So that's why the government exchequer, Ministry of Finance, we are calling on him, and we've written to him and we receive a good response that they are going to have a meeting.
Thank you for staying on the AM show with Bernice and Benjamin. It's now time to hear what you have to say about the big stories we've been discussing. I just had a conversation a while ago about menstrual poverty, if you want to put it. Yeah, because the government made a promise. It hasn't fulfilled that promise. The producer of that story is here, and it tells you how important the story is to him. And we've been,
all of us.
To all of us, yes.
To all of us.
But we've been discussing this, and we'd like to hear what you have to say about this. And also, we saw that story about people, young people in the Upper West region using polythene bags. Charlie, that as condoms. It's very, very ridiculous. But they say they are shy.
It's very, very not going on. It's totally, out of place.
Exactly, and you had a conversation about...
We're talking about myriad matters, from the National Cathedral to... I'd love to hear your thoughts on the National Cathedral, yeah? So, 25 million supposedly signed off.
Please, add the currency. Add the currency.
Dollars. American dollars.
Yeah.
So-called dollars.
Yeah.
What do you think about that? And don't you forget the 32 million CDs paid to Ajay and Associates in there. Hey, but my year was a check like we forgot look for them.
Something just came to my mind, but if I say it would amount to mischief. So I'll say so. Do call us, and we'll also take your comments on this. But this is what we've posted on Facebook. It's unlawful to price, advertise, or demand payment for goods and services in foreign currency in Ghana. Always remember the sole legal tender in Ghana is the Ghana cedi and the Ghana pesos. That's according to an advice from the Bank of Ghana. Oh, why are you laughing? I don't like that. Oh, Good Heart Baran says, a country where the laws only work against the poor. I like that. Because who is really checking?
Yeah.
And even if I'm being charged in dollars, who can I report to? If I make a report to the same BOG, well, the landlord or whoever is look.
Let's not drag this. Those in authority have entities, tourism entities, touristic, and all of that. They're all charging in dollars.
So but I mean, let's put the caveat there. You need a permit from the Bank of Ghana.
Was it under Mahama where we tried this thing to regularize, and then how did that go? We've dollarized our economy. We've dollarized everything.
Yeah, so $25 million it is. Kevin Landy says the import duties at our various ports, the calculation is based on the dollar, in dollar, euro, and pounds, depending on where the goods are coming from. The state whose activities are geared towards comfort of its citizens. And there's more to that, but he's complaining about what happens at the ports. But I'm not sure.
And that is one area. They've really had a problem. You remember Awingo Beta and Co. would tell you, and we have to convert and we have to do all of this. But there's more. There's more to that.
Yeah, there's more to that.
The rest of it is...
he says, rather than it's engaging in this illegality, I beg your pardon, yet entreating the citizens to stop. Albert Income says the black markets in Accra and other parts of the country are trading dollars to the public. And the sad part is foreigners are running it. The Bank of Ghana, he's asking, are you not aware?
And these are public places. I could mention so many of them. I will not do that. But there are so many places, very open. In fact, there is one right by a certain prominent police station. Police station, right next to them is going on.
Well, we've started receiving your calls, Benjamin.
Let's take Abindao from Kumasi first. Hello, Abindao. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Thank you for calling. Looks like you've called back to back for, 3 occasions now. Keep it up. What are your thoughts for us this morning?
Yeah, I want to comment Fedi for what he has done.
Okay.
Yeah, it's something commendable. But Dr. Asante was suggesting of a second chamber in Ghana. And I don't think the establishment of a second chamber in Ghana can be the solution to Ghana's problem, because our partisan politics is what is hampering Ghana, in the sense that whatever the ruling government will say, all the MPs will back the ruling government, and vice versa. Also, when whatever the opposition party members or one of them will suggest, that is what all of them, and therefore what is the justification that when a second chamber is instituted or established, it can be able to perform better than the current parliament? And then also comment a bit on the on the prices of goods and services in Ghana.
Right.
For instance, have you ever seen an aeroplane moving backwards? Never. In the sense that the price of goods and services in Ghana always they are moving forward, but never backwards. But what we pray is that they should put measures in place so that where it is, it can be maintained or sustained for a long time. But moving backwards, in fact, it has never happened. Thanks.
All right. Bernice, I just wanted to add to what he was saying that Dr. Hassan Asante was categorical. He said the Council of State, I mean, he has his own issues with the work it does and all of that. So why don't we just have a bicameral system, a second chamber where these Council of State members can be a part of, and then we'll see them doing a lot more work and then maybe justifying the Ex-gratia. So that was the incident. But we also have Raymond from Accra, Bernice.
Hello, Raymond. Good morning. Let's hear what you have to say.
Yeah, good morning. So my name is Raymond Tilong. I want to comment on the issue of the National Cathedral. So, to me, I feel the whole National Cathedral brouhaha is of misplaced priority. You see, it makes me feel that a father who doesn't have time or money to take care of his kids or family, but yet goes out at the funeral ground to dole out money to show off. We are here in a country in which where anytime it rains, cars and properties and life are wasted, all right? Yet we have money. We can dole out a whooping 32 million Ghana cedi just for consultation, whatsoever it is we call it. Then also, we have parted with $25 million just for a national cathedral. Because someone pledged, the president prayed God to build for him. So it sparks of inconsiderateness, a father who doesn't really care about what his children should feed on or care about his children, but only cares about himself and how people see him. So for me, it's a no, 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 no. I wouldn't be surprised if the National Cathedral will be used to celebrate gay marriages. For all you may know, funding is even coming from such sources. So to me, I don't agree with that at all.
Well, we don't know anything tied to that. But what we do know is that, well, some sums of money have been committed. And like Collins Adomako-Mensah was saying earlier today, maybe we should get some clarity on how much more we're going to commit as a state, this seed money, because it seems there's a lot of back and forth. And today we've committed this and there's more.
We're not too sure exactly how much we've given.
Yeah,
but we stay in Accra. Boating. Hello, Boating. Thank you for joining us. Let's hear you.
Yeah, good morning, and you are doing a good job.
Thank you.
Yeah, my problem is you see what the Togbe Afede has done. Why can't Ghana, we should give a chance to certain people like this to also run as a president? You go look at former President Mahama. He's going again. And let me tell you, he's already taken, he has already took his Ex-gratia like 2 times already. And he's going again. When he wins, he's coming to take Ex-gratia again. Meanwhile, there's somebody there like this Togbe Afede who say, no, I'll not take it. Let's use that money and manage Ghana. So please, you people you know, and you know the fact that people have been taking Ex-gratia more than necessary.
All right.
So I recommended the king or the
right.
Thank you.
Boateng, we're grateful for your thoughts, but this is just a one-off. It must also be pointed out that whatever other benefits there were as a member of the Council of State, he did take. But in this instance, he said, no, let it go to the state. Maybe we need a lot more of that. We have Mentor Robert in Kumasi. Hello, Mentor.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm well, please. We're very well. Please go ahead with your thoughts.
The political affairs or the political people of God, they always promise they give promise that they can achieve it. Like the vice president giving promise that when I come, sanitary pad, the tax on sanitary pad, I will do that. He's not doing it. And nobody is holding him accountable. So they will always lie to us. Let them hold them accountable. And the pastors are not talking. The traditional leaders are not talking. What they need to do is that some occasions or ceremonies, and then they will take on their traditional dresses, and then the pastors on the coats, and then they will go there to celebrate it with them. Without telling them, let's speak through to power. People are afraid. I'm an evangelist. They are afraid to talk to people because they have already corrupted them. So Ghanaians, most of the problem comes from the Ghanaians. We are afraid to tell them what is right. You always back them when they do wrong. But what is right, you must tell them.
All right.
Ghana is not moving forward.
Sir.
The other caller said Ghana is not going back again. Yes, it's not going back again. But as you compare to other countries, you see that the prices of a product and services remain there for very long time. But look at Ghana. It's 30 minutes, 1 hour, 2 days, prices are increasing. You don't know where it's coming from. So let's tell them the truth. Let them hold them accountable. And
thank you for sharing your thoughts with us. Thank you so much. We appreciate it. We'll pick our last caller from Danfa. Hello, Inusa. Let's hear you.
All right. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
I want to thank you for the opportunity. Yeah. So I want to speak on the issue of the national.
Please go ahead. Whichever subject you want to speak on.
All right.
Yes, please.
Okay. Yeah. So my concern is the youth of this country are really suffering. We are suffering. But you hear being the instance where you have leaders embarking on projects that are facing fierce opposition from the youth. In fact, when you hit the street and you ask most of the youth, in fact, when you take 100 of youth on the street as we speak, you have over 95 of them speaking against this national cathedral. But then you have a president, you have leaders who not listen to our plea. Look, the youth, you are really suffering. When you hit the street, and sometimes I normally commute from Circle to Dansuma, so Adon, and when you get there, you see so many people sleeping under the
flyover.
Yes, yeah. And it's really a worrying problem. It's something that we need to look at. There are so many challenges. There are priorities that we could channel some of these resources into other than the National Cathedral. I'm not saying the National Cathedral is not good. But then, at this moment, there are equally important projects we can take a look at. And then, at the appropriate time when the resources are there, we can come back and then go ahead with the cathedral. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Inusa. And Benjamin, we heard Dr. Asante ask the same question about timing. Is this the right time to do this?
But it just flies in the face of the ordinary Ghanaian to do this.
And the other thing is how people feel the president is not concerned about how they feel towards this particular project. So there was a manifesto. We knew, for example, free SHS, we knew you promised to do it. And so once we are voting for you and you do it, nobody can have an issue with you. But with the National Cathedral, nobody signed up for that.
No promise.
Yeah,
but
nobody signed up for that.
It is what it is. Yeah. As we wrap the show, though, Ghana has developed double taxation treaties with countries such as the United Kingdom, Belgium, Denmark, France, Germany, Italy, among others. Now, for the relief from double taxation on income arising in Ghana, taxpayers benefit from tax credit facilities under the double taxation treaty. That is one to take stock of.
Also, rent to own a 2-, 3- or 4-bedroom house or beachfront villa in the New Accra city. Do visit www.newaccra.ct for more details or call or WhatsApp 0555 530 300 or 0577 911 101 or 0557 054 635. The planned cities extension project shaping Ghana's urban future.
And on that note, hopefully, I think I'm developing this line. Hopefully, we've shaped your morning for the better. But we're not leaving you. We're leaving you in a very good company. In fact, up next, Joy News Desk. We're bringing you all the latest when it comes to the news. And at noon as well, Joy News Today. So from the two of us, it is...
Goodbye. See you again tomorrow, God willing.